Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. Well, there's no denying the big story, which unfortunately, once again, is not something to help America, not something in our country's best interests, not something our people vote for on either side of the aisle, and that is, of course, regime change in Iran. Now, many of you, I'm guessing, if you listen to this, understand how America is being propagandized internally and externally. We're going to look at some more of that today. But it's actually extremely offensive now. The demands that are being made that the American people get behind and support another regime change war in the Middle East. These are demands being made by foreigners. Demands. I don't know how this isn't offensive to every single American, even if you do support regime change in Iran, even if the Iranian protesters are one of your main causes right now. It's extremely offensive as an American to watch people demanding that of us. Extremely offensive. So we're going to review that. We're going to review some things that the Trump administration is doing, isn't doing. We'll examine what's happening on the ground. We're going to try to make sense of it all for you today. All right. Are you surprised that Bill and Hillary Clinton are not going to be showing up for their hearing today? Yeah, not going to be happening. Bill and Hillary can't make it. We do have the statement from James Comer, the chair of the Oversight Committee. He, after the Clintons didn't show up and then released their public statements, spoke to the press in a brief press gaggle. We're going to play that for you. They're being held in contempt of Congress. Does anybody take that seriously? The Clintons definitely don't. Isn't that ironic? So see, here we go again. Here we go again. The United States, our people, our country, our blood, our treasure is all being focused on a foreign country, a foreign war, and a foreign agenda. And we can't even get Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And we'll review that. The Pentagon is announcing their new AI programs today. Pete Hegseth met with Elon Musk. They made a big AI announcement. Kristi Noem made a big drone announcement. How about that? So you're going to have AI everywhere. You're going to have drones flying around, and you're going to work and be taxed 30%, 40% that's so that you can fund regime change wars all over the planet. That's what being an American is all about now. That's the American way of life. Oh, and don't forget, all the OnlyFans models that come here and they get the prioritization when it comes to H-1B visas and all that other nonsense. America, baby. That's what it's all about. Not rugged individualism, not independence, not freedom, not minimalist government, self-government, staying out of foreign entanglements. No. Now America is the AI drone war machine where Americans will pay 30, 40% of taxes to fund regime changes all over the world. And if you dare say anything negative about this, you're going to ping on the AI. They're going to come get you. They're going to come get you. So we got a little other domestic news around those topics. We got some other odds and ends today, but a lot of stuff in Iran. We're really going to be focusing on what's going on in Iran so that you can have some understanding, as best you can, at least, because you're being propagandized by the media. So we're going to try to sort it all out here. Now, there were rumors of an announcement from Trump tonight. He already spoke. He was at a Ford plant in Michigan today. He already spoke there, talked highly of the economy, gas prices, etc. We'll see if Trump makes any other announcements. It sounds like maybe foreign policy tonight. We'll see if anything comes down the news wire while we're live.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
Well, by now you're probably seeing it. Gold and silver are at all-time highs. It's actually wild. I have a lot of friends that talk about commodities, trading commodities. It's all gold and silver now. Everybody is talking about it. That's why my friends at Allegiance.gold want to help you protect your wealth and your finances in these trying financial times. The dollar buying less every month, banks showing signs of stress. The Fed just prints money. It's not if it breaks, it's how prepared you'll be when it does. You're already seeing the insiders, the smart people in finance move fast into gold and silver. So my friends at Allegiance.gold, they want to hear from you. And they want to know, what are you doing? What are you doing right now to protect your wealth? Have you thought about it? Maybe you have some questions. Give them a call, 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. Just give them a call. They want their clients to be informed. If you have questions, curiosities, whatever, they'll pick up the phone and they'll make sure you're comfortable with the next decision you make. And right now, $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments, whether through your 401k, IRA, or savings. They make it simple to move into something real. So give them a call, 844-790-9191, or you can go to protectwithowen.com. That's protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth, protect your freedom, because no one else will.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, guys. Something was weighing on me last night, and I just felt compelled to try to find a way to iterate this to you today. And it's my assumption, if you follow me, if you listen to the Owen Report, we're probably like-minded in a lot of things. Now, there's no cult here. We don't mind disagreement here. We don't mind criticism here. But for the most part, I think we probably see the world in a very similar way, maybe even have some semblance of a similar life experience. But last night, and I'll explain why I'm saying this, why I'm compelled to start the show with this and push the news off a little bit for a brief opening monologue. Last night, and I even said this, if you recall, to open the new year, I said 2026 is the year where we change tact. We're going back to 2016 tactics of triggering, leaning in, walking into the fire, knowing what we're up against. We're up against the neocons again. It's a lot of the similar battles. It's a lot of the similar splits. So we have to go back to the playbook that worked. So I said we're going to be triggering. We're going to be mogging. You may have seen those videos. But so last night I shoot a video. And this is mostly inconsequential. It compelled me to say something today. I shoot a video about this girl who's apparently from Greenland. I don't know. But it's a funny video. She's got a funny accent. And she's talking trash to Donald Trump. And it's like one of those things where, because everybody, you can't help it. It's just, everybody sees things in some way through the lens of beauty and attractiveness. So it's like, here's this girl, and it's like, she's kind of cute, maybe not. Maybe she is. She's kind of feisty, but she kind of has like this feminist bent to her. So it's just funny. Here she is being funny, talking trash. You know, you're not sure if she passes the test or not. But so I made a post about it, sounding like, you know, an imperialist, saying, oh, don't worry, I'm going to conquer you, sweetie, and you're going to be my handmaid. And it's obviously a joke. And you know, some people get my sense of humor, some people don't. But I see people responding, and they're totally crashing out to just a simple joke. And they think, oh my gosh, this is the sign Schroyer sold us out. This is the sign Schroyer got the call. Look at Schroyer pushing goy slop. Look at Schroyer. He's pro-Zog now. All of this stuff. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I understand. I've kind of changed tactics. I'm going back to triggering people and doing more jokes on social media. Guys, I understand that the political world is insane. I get it. Believe me, I live it. I've lived this stuff for a decade. I've been at the heart of it. I've been at the front lines of it. I've been in prison with it. I've been in court with it. I've been swatted. I mean, I've had it all. I get it. The political world is insane. And the other thing that kind of compelled me to bring this message to start the show is a lot of people are reaching out to me, sometimes in person, sometimes, you know, a phone call, a text, and they're just kind of like, you know, I don't want to say that they're confused, but, you know, maybe confused, maybe concerned, just looking for some light. Say, hey, Owen, what's going on in the political world? You know, what happened to this? What happened to that? This stuff is crazy. People that don't even normally talk politics with me are now approaching me with this stuff. So it shows me that, you know, the political world is just so insane, folks. It's totally insane. It's totally corrupt. It's filth. It's disgusting. Everyone's a liar. Everyone's a traitor. It's so hard to find people who are honest, to find people who have integrity, to find people that haven't sold out. You name it. But I see people crashing out to a joke I made last night. And you know what? Normally, the approach to this would be like, look, you don't respond to these people. It's a small fraction of people. Who really cares? And I normally agree with that. That's the standard approach in media. But this one, it just hit me differently because I actually want people's lives to improve. I don't like seeing people miserable. And so part of me kind of had this introspective moment that was like, I don't want people to be miserable. Like if you tune into this show every day and, you know, it's a black pill or depressing, then you know what? No other talk show host will say this, by the way, because they're all about money and they're all about their ratings. But I'll tell you, this show is not for the faint of heart. This show is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of mind. It's not for the faint of spirit. It's not for the faint of soul. This is heavy stuff. This is real stuff we're dealing with. You have to understand it and be able to deal with it. And so if you're having a negative response to the news cycle, which I totally understand, just go touch some grass. And I know that that's kind of a catchphrase, but I mean, literally go. There's a real world out there, guys. There is a real world out there with real people and real things that you can do. And if the political world is getting you stressed and depressed and has you down, just tune out. For your own mental health, just tune out if you have to. And again, it's the media approach. This is totally counterintuitive to the idea of media. We want you tuned in. We want you listening every day. We want you addicted. We want you desperate. I don't. I want you healthy. I want you happy. This show is not for the faint of heart or faint of mind. You have to be very strong-willed to be able to interpret these topics and consume and digest these topics. It is very heavy. I get that. And I feel like maybe, and this was kind of the approach last night, it's like maybe I need to start doing more fun stuff on social media. Maybe I need to start doing things that remind you there's a world out there, guys. There's an entire world out there. And I shot that video late at night. And somebody insinuated, I guess, that I was on drugs. Of course, I'm not. I'm totally sober. And I almost responded saying, like, well, you know, I'm not on drugs, but I actually am pretty high. I am high on life. I did just play 3 hours of basketball last night and showered and shot that video. I was feeling pretty good. Like, get some exercise. Get outside. Get some, you guys, you got to get natural dopamine out there. It's okay to enjoy life. It is okay to enjoy life. You need to enjoy life. You need to find enjoyment and pleasure in the world. There is a real world out there. Okay? So I just saw some of the responses to that joke last night, and I just felt like, guys, if you're this downtrodden about things and you're this reactionary and volatile about hearing something in the political world, hey, it's all right. Take a step back. Tune out for a day or two. Whatever you got to do. Go touch grass. Go get some exercise. Go read a book. Go play a musical instrument. Go learn a new language. But I understand. I understand the frustration. I do. But maybe that's what we got to do. Maybe we need to do more things outside of the political world, because that's kind of been my thing. It's just like all I do is politics. I don't really do as much fun stuff. I don't really talk about sports or culture or entertainment as much. It's like I'm kind of narrowed my content to that. Maybe I need to remind people, hey, there's still good music out there. There's still good food out there. There's still plenty of things you can do that are fun. So I don't know why I felt compelled to do this, because what's the point? What is the point of this revolution that we all believe in? We all see the same things. We all have the same vision. We all understand what could be and what isn't. But what's the point? What's the point if you can't enjoy life? What's the point if you can't even enjoy the things that we're trying to preserve and build? What's the point? What are we trying to protect in this country if we don't actually enjoy the things that we're trying to protect in this country? So I just felt compelled. And I don't know if this message was meant for 1,000 people, 100 people, or one person. But I felt compelled to bring it, and I hope that it lands. I hope that it lands. This show is intense. I understand that. And maybe, the persona that people have of me, because this is pretty much all you see, maybe it's a bit misrepresentative. I love life. I enjoy life. Most of my days are spent smiling and enjoying life. Okay? So that's what we want to promote. The news is hot. Politics is heavy. These subjects and materials are not for the faint of mind and the faint of heart. So all I'm saying is, if you've reached a certain level where you're responding to a joke that I made last night and you're like kind of freaking out, like, oh my gosh, you've changed. Guys, just pump the brakes, man. Just pump the brakes for a second. The world is still going on. There's real things out there, real people, real world experiences. It's okay. I've not sold out. I've not flipped. I've not changed. So I don't know if this works for one person today or 100 people today. I really don't care. I felt compelled because I see it. I see it all around me. I see it all around me. And I see it from people that normally would never talk politics with me coming up to me and kind of looking concerned and asking me questions. I'm like, well, that's odd. So I get it. The world is crazier than ever. And that's why I do this. I try to make the most sense of it as humanly possible for 3 hours a day right here. So with that, let me step off my soapbox. Allow me to step off my soapbox here. But again, like I said, I just felt compelled. And whenever there's like something that really weighs on me like that, it's like a hurdle that I have to do on air before I can even really get to news anyway. So I felt like I had to do that. I felt compelled about that. And at the end of the day, it's all about, we want to make the human experience better. We want to improve the human experience, and we want to do it through civilization. We want to do it through good policy. We want to do it through technology, and we want to somehow find the balance of maintaining our freedom, our independence, our sovereignty, while also advancing civilization and kind of growing institutions. And these two things need to work in synchronicity. But that's why we address the corruption. That's why we call out the liars in media, in government. That's why we address at a global scale, at a local scale, the attempt for power grabs all around us. This is why we do it. So, all right, soapbox opening monologue over, but just needed to do that. All right, so yeah, I see the comments talking trash. That's funny, actually. That's funny. I was thinking I did want to take calls today. And we've been taking a lot of super chats lately on YouTube, so we will continue that. And I'll take calls. So if you think I'm getting soft, I'd love to hear that too. That would be fun. But I will say, some of you guys are unhinged. Some of you guys are totally unhinged. But I will say this, tonight we are going to do that. I think I have to make the commitment to start kind of expanding the content. But see, that's the risk. It's like when you start to do different things, people start to assume different things about you, right? So it's like, that's the risk. It's like, okay, I can start doing different content, entertainment, culture, whatever, sports. And it's like, there's a measurement. It's like, well, it's kind of healthy for these reasons, but then it's like, it's unhealthy because then all of these people over here are going to come after you. But I think it has to be done. I think people need, especially right now when the news is like heavier than ever, at least it feels like it, that heavy lift every day, that people just need to be reminded. It's like, hey, we're all humans still. We're all humans. It's okay to enjoy life. It's okay to just forget about politics for a day or two or a week, whatever. It's okay. You're not a bad person for enjoying life. You're not a bad person for wanting to shut all of this out of your life, at least for a period of time. So we'll see. But we will be doing something. Tonight. In that realm. So just stay tuned. Just stay tuned for that. Okay. All right, guys. All right. You want me to cover news? Get to the news, monkey. That's what the people are saying. They're saying we tuned in to see this monkey. We tuned in to see this gringo. Read the news. Do it, monkey. Dance, monkey. Jump. Jump, monkey. Read the news, monkey. All right. All right, let's read the news. Okay. So, Iran, this is the big one. This is Donald Trump. This is from December 20th, 2018. Of course, he was the president at this time. So the president, Donald Trump, in his first term, posted this. Does the USA want to be the policeman of the Middle East, getting nothing but spending precious lives and trillions of dollars protecting others who, in almost all cases, do not appreciate what we are doing? Do we want to be there forever? Time for others to finally fight. What happened? What happened? Now, look, I'm all about honest dealers. I'm an honest dealer. I say what I believe and I tell the truth. And if you disagree with that, then that's fine. But you can't call me a liar. So let's just be honest dealers here. What happened to this Donald Trump? It's a fair question. It's a totally fair question. What happened to the President Trump and Donald Trump before he became president? What happened to the anti-intervention in the Middle East, Donald Trump? What happened to the regime change wars in the Middle East were all disasters, Donald Trump? What happened to that Donald Trump? Here he is just a few years back when he was president, 2018. Here he is saying what we're all thinking. And then today, because these are all organized and funded right-wing propaganda teams, and that's what they are. They're just like the left. The right wing has its own propaganda teams now. And there's a kind of a brief story in the Wall Street Journal about this today that we may get to. But people are sending me this video. These right-wing propaganda teams are now, attacking me, demonizing me, putting me on lists, putting me in videos. Somebody sent me a video they put me in today, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. I already did this. Again, we already did this in 2016. This is nothing new. So I'm just like, all right, here we go. It's fine. played this game before. But it's like, I'm not the one who's changed. So if you're pro-regime change in the Middle East, in Iran, whatever, okay, that's your thing. I'm not. I never have been. But neither had Donald Trump until this administration. Let's just be honest. Donald Trump was against regime change wars in the Middle East until this administration. That is a perfectly fair and honest observation that is undeniable. So what changed? What changed? Why is President Trump all of a sudden pro-regime change wars all over the world? Why? What changed? That is a fair question to ask. It is totally fair to run a parallel between the foreign policies of George Bush and Barack Obama and now Donald Trump. These are totally fair observations. These are totally honest observations that we can ask obvious questions about. And you've got these right-wing propaganda teams that are attacking you for this stuff. They're the dishonest ones. So when did you start supporting regime change wars in the Middle East? Because MAGA never did. But Trump doesn't post MAGA anymore. He posts MIGA now. Again, that's just a fact. He posted it again today. So we'll get back to that. I just wanted to kind of open it up there. Just give you the main course and then go back to the side dishes. That's what we're going to do. So, okay, Bill and Hillary, well, they were both supposed to appear this week. Bill was supposed to appear for a closed session testimony today. He did not. Hillary was supposed to appear tomorrow. She's already announced she's not going to. So this is the House Oversight Committee, chaired by James Comer. Once it was final that Bill wasn't going to show up today, and then Hillary announced that she wouldn't be showing up tomorrow, Comer stepped out in front of the press and addressed this with the American people and press.
I think everyone knows by now Bill Clinton did not show up, and I think it's important to note that this subpoena was voted on in a bipartisan manner by this committee. This wasn't something that I just issued as chairman of the committee. This was voted on by the entire committee in a unanimous vote of the House Oversight Committee to subpoena former President Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton's supposed to show up tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. But with respect to the former president, he did not show up today. One reason I think most Americans want President Clinton to answer some questions is because he visited the White House. Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. I've been in Congress 9 years. I think I've been to the White House 9 times in 9 years. Epstein was in the White House double the amount of time that I was under one president. And then we know that Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's plane somewhere around 27 times after the presidency. So no one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. We just have questions. And that's why the Democrats voted along with Republicans to subpoena Bill Clinton. Not a single Democrat showed up today. Not a single Democrat. The ones that have press conferences on the Capitol steps and talk about how they're trying to get justice for the victims and all that. It just seems like they only care about questioning Republicans. And we've had a former Trump cabinet secretary, Acosta, in for a grilling. We had Bill Barr, former attorney general, in for a grilling. But for whatever reason, President Clinton didn't show up, and the Democrats on the committee don't seem to have a problem. This is the amount of preparation that went into this deposition today. These were the questions that we were prepared to ask. We've communicated with President Clinton's legal team for months now, giving them opportunity after opportunity to come in, to give us a date, and they continue to delay to the point where we had no idea whether they're going to show up today or not. I think it's very disappointing. As a result of Bill Clinton not showing up for his lawful subpoena, which again was voted on unanimously by the committee in a bipartisan manner, we will move next week in the House Oversight Committee markup to hold former President Clinton in contempt of Congress.
Now, here's the problem. Well, there's a lot of problems. Nobody really nobody really cares about contempt of Congress. That's quite obvious. Obviously, Bill and Hillary Clinton are not too concerned about contempt of Congress because Comer already announced this if they didn't show up that he would be doing this. So this is going all according to plan. So nobody fears contempt of Congress. And I'll tell you something else that nobody fears. Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, ladies and gentlemen. How many criminal referrals have we heard about being sent to Pam Bondi's desk? How many? Seems like all the important ones. And Pam Bondi's desk is where criminal referrals go to die. And if you recall, Comer told Catherine Herridge that over the weekend. When she asked, she said, how come nothing ever gets done? Republicans complain that there are no arrests. How come nothing gets done? And he says, well, all we can do is send criminal referrals to the DOJ. That's all we can do. So they're on Pam Bondi's desk? Yes, that's all we can do. So this will be another instance, like every other instance, where a criminal referral or action against the deep state gets to Pam Bondi's desk and nothing happens. Now, Bill and Hillary have released a joint statement today, and then they both posted it all over social media. This is not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. So that's what Bill and Hillary posted today, and then they shared their little 3-page letter. You don't want to hear about it. Neither do I. Nobody cares. They're not showing up. So, and I hate to belabor this point, but I think that this is everything, quite frankly. I think that what I'm about to say is everything. And this is why there's so much confusion in this debate over foreign policy, whether it's Israel, Iran, Ukraine, Venezuela, you name it. It seems like this is kind of the split. This is where there's the misunderstanding. And everybody wants you to have an opinion on it. Everybody wants you to pick a side and have opinion on this stuff. And they don't understand. I don't want to have an opinion on it. I don't have an opinion on it. I understand that I'm basically just being propagandized on it 24/7. So here's what I want to know. I want to know when we're going to arrest our deep state. You know, here's what it is. Here's what the people don't understand. Because I saw, again, like I said, they're putting my face in these, right-wing propaganda videos now, because I'm not a good cultist. I'm not a loyal right-wing cultist. I'm not a good Trump cultist. So all the cult members are attacking the people that have left. And I'm just sitting here and it's like, hey, you guys have your fun. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. Have fun. It's free speech. But here's what it is. None of these people were put in prison. None of these people were ever out in the field. None of these people were ever sued. None of these people were ever censored. None of these people ever had to endure the attacks that original MAGA, January 6ers, and others have had to endure. None of them. They all got rich off social media, and they all got rich off branding themselves with Trump. So you guys don't have a choice. You guys never went through anything. You guys are the prime example of political propagandists and opportunists. We are not that. So I look at this and I say, I was put in prison for speech multiple times. And the people that put me in prison for speech aren't in Iran. They're not in Gaza. They're not in Israel. They're not in Hamas. They're not in Hezbollah. They're not in Venezuela. Are you starting to get the picture? The people that put me in prison for speech are in Washington, D.C. And it's mostly the same people that are putting protesters in the streets to disrupt ICE operations. So you see, my problems are not based in the Middle East. My problems are not based in Venezuela, and neither are yours. And this is what they're trying to sell you. This is the big propaganda that all of your problems are based from this country or this country down here and that country over there. And if we could get regime change here or get a leverage of power over here or spend more money over here or have more military action over here. Oh, no. All a distraction. Your problem is in Washington, D.C. That's where your problem is. And I wonder how much of a coincidence it is that right as maybe there's a movement, there's a unification of a tax strike. Boy, that didn't last long. Now we're talking about Iran again. Now, the real coincidence is Trump and Netanyahu meet over New Year's, and then the regime change war breaks out in Iran. That's the real coincidence. And I love these people that it's just, they don't even live in reality is what it is. They're like the political equivalent of kindergartners. And they'll hear you say something like, well, you know, the regime change war in Iran is being led by Mossad right now and foreign interests. And they say, oh my gosh, conspiracy theorists. And they give you all these name calling. It's like, dude, you don't even live in reality. Okay? You are at the kids' table for Thanksgiving dinner. Do you understand? You're sitting in a tiny little plastic chair. You can't even trust you with real silverware. We have to give you plastic forks and knives because you're too little. You're at the little kids' table. Okay? You're eating the kiddie meal. If you don't understand that what's going on in Iran is foreign interest moving in to have a regime change, then stay at the kiddie table because the adults are having a conversation. Okay? Just please. Just please. So I have zero tolerance for people that want to try to convince me that my problems and my country's problems are in foreign countries thousands of miles away. I have no tolerance. I'm out of patience. We're done with it. We know where America's problems are. We know where the corruption in America is. And it's in Washington, D.C. They're the people that have committed treason. They're the people that have broken their oaths to the Constitution. They're the people that have thrown us in prison for speech. They're the people that have tried to censor us. They're the people that have sold us out. They're the people that tax us 30, 40%. So that's why they want you looking over there. They want you looking at the other side of the planet because the real corruption is happening right in your backyard. And they'll do everything to convince you. They will do everything to convince you to look at some other country, some other foreign nation and its problems and convince you that these are your problems. These are your concerns. This is what you need to be focused on and talking about. They'll do everything to try to distract you with that. This is why we must never forget. Your problems aren't in the Middle East. Your problems aren't in Venezuela or wherever else you're told they are. They're in Washington, D.C. That's where they are. Washington, D.C. That's where the people that have sold you out work. That's where the people that have sold you out to foreign nations for the entire time you've been alive, that's where they work. That's where they write the policies. That's where they generate the propaganda. That's where they get rich and rob and steal and hide and lie. Washington, D.C. And those corrupt traitors want you looking everywhere else except D.C. because that's where the corruption is. That's where your problems exist. Now, we're going to come back to that, but I think, I guess I could say this now. I really want you to understand what it is you're experiencing. Because so much that happens in the political world, you know, everything moves so fast. It's such a blur. Yesterday's big topic is yesterday's news. The next big thing is on the horizon. Stuff barely has any staying power anymore. You know, a perfect example could be Rand Paul with Joe Rogan today. and I hadn't seen all of it. It's 3 hours, but I watched the first hour. It's like mostly about COVID and stuff, and Rand Paul has a new book. And I remember they open it up, and Rand Paul starts talking about the COVID fraud and Fauci and everything with Rogan, and I'm like, I kind of roll my eyes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hear about COVID anymore. And then they get to talking, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. And it's just like, see, that's a perfect example right there. There's never been any COVID justice. They literally made a bioweapon in a lab and released it. They used the media and fear techniques to lock your country down, to take away your rights, to shut down your businesses. They opened up the government for massive welfare fraud, huge, massive fraud. It was one of the biggest transfers of wealth in the history of the world during COVID. They forced you to wear masks, take vaccines, all the lies, the permanent damage done to the economy, all of it. No arrests, no justice, nothing. So go talk about Iran. Was it the Iranians that made the COVID bioweapon in a lab? Was it the Iranians that lied to us about vaccines and masks and how deadly the virus was? Was that the Iranians, guys? Is that your enemy, the Iranians? So I just want people to understand this. I want people to grasp this. You've probably graduated some level of school. Most of you probably at least high school. So you've had history classes. Maybe you've even read some history books. You remember the chapters. You remember the lessons where you'd be studying about war. And one of the chapters, one of the lessons would be all the propaganda. And they'd show you all the posters and all the claims and everything. And that'd be a whole section in your war studies. You are living that right now. We'll see what the outcome of all of this is, the outcome in Venezuela, Iran, etc. But you're living this. All the stuff that you are seeing right now, all the stuff you're seeing and hearing and witnessing, you are watching 21st century war propaganda. It's happening right now. You are living history. And when all of this goes down in the history books, you're witnessing it. You are witnessing war propaganda. All the Iranian women, the Canadian woman that they said was Iranian in Iran, it was some Canadian feminist burning the picture, all of this. You are watching 21st century internet war propaganda. You're witnessing it. So try to think of it from that perspective. You're just watching all the corrupt forces, all the corrupt powers that be, shove war propaganda in front of your face to change your consciousness and distract you from what you would naturally be concerned about. That we the people would organically care about and fight against. You're witnessing it. It's incredible. It's incredible to witness this history. And you almost feel powerless. It almost makes you feel powerless. But that's the understanding you have to have. As you're watching all of this stuff go down and you're watching the masses fall for it, you're just witnessing 21st century digital war propaganda. That's what it is. You're watching it happen in real time, like pages turning in a history book. This is what we're witnessing. And yes, part of that experience, part of living this history is watching the masses go along with it, watching the masses fall for it, watching them push it, watching them buy into it, try to sell it to you. That's part of this process. That's part of the chapter that we're on right now. So yeah, I understand the frustration that it's like, this is so obviously happening and people still fall for it, but welcome to human history, guys. Welcome. We are the observers. We are the enlightened, maybe. But that's what we're witnessing. All right, some other history happening here. And we will get back to the geopolitical stuff. But we do have some other stuff happening here. Some AI news. So Pete Hegseth, as I said, met with Elon Musk, and they got these new rocket engines that they're showing off, pretty sharp. But he made a big announcement about AI with Elon today. Guys, by the way, I've been trying, I can't believe this quickly here. I've been trying to note the audio concerns here. I think that this is what it is this volume on X has been at half. I don't know if we can make that permanent so that it's all the way up or if I have to adjust it every time because my board is totally maxed out. And I'd have to get like a $50,000 soundboard to have all of that stuff built into the board so that it like self-corrects before it puts out. But anyway, for the people that are talking about the audio being low, I'm hoping that this is the issue right here, is the volume on X. All right, but here's the clip. Musk, Hegseth, new AI announcement.
Thank you. Elon, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Today, we're excited to announce the next frontier AI model company to join GenAI.mil, and that is Grok from xAI, which will go live later this month. Very soon, we will have the world's leading AI models on every unclassified and classified network throughout our department. Long overdue. And we will not employ AI models that won't allow you to fight wars. We will judge AI models on this standard alone. Factually accurate, mission relevant, without ideological constraints that limit lawful military applications. Department of War AI will not be woke. It will work for us. We're building war-ready weapons and systems, not chatbots for an Ivy League faculty lounge.
So, okay, interesting stuff is said there. I don't know how much value you take out of the actual speech that he was reading. It's more of an existential question. Now, obviously, the military is always going to have the most technologically advanced equipment. So, of course, eventually AI is going to get there too. I think it's more of an existential question that we need to be asking. Are we implementing AI too soon? Is the AI race going to be detrimental? How much do we really even know about this technology? How successfully can it really be applied right now? Because anybody that uses AI, even passively, knows that it's riddled with all kinds of errors. Which, okay, you're making an image. It makes 6 fingers. Who cares? Make a new one, or it's just funny. You ask it a question about a news story or something else. Maybe it gets it wrong 1 time, 2 times, and eventually it corrects. But it does get it wrong. And some of it's very, easy stuff that it shouldn't even get wrong. And yet it does. And it's just like we're leaping into this. We're signing all of these deals. And the AI companies, I'm sure they're making massive promises because they're all trying to get these massive contracts, very lucrative. And yet the concept of AI as it's being sold is pretty frightening. AI is now going to, have complete control over mission command and all the operating systems and all the buttons and levers and knobs and everything you got to push to fire missiles and bombs? Can it fly airplanes, drones? Well, here's your story on drones. By the way, Secretary Noam. Drones represent the new frontier of American air superiority. Under President Trump, we are entering a new era to defend our air superiority, to protect our borders and the interior of the United States. With the creation of the DHS program, Executive Office for Unmanned Aircraft Systems and Counter-Unmanned Aircraft Systems, President Trump continues his historic legacy in developing American dominance. This will help us continue to secure the border and cripple the cartels, protect our infrastructure, and keep Americans safe as they attend festivities and events during a historic year of America's 250th birthday and FIFA 2026. So, drones everywhere is the new norm. How do we feel about that? It sounds like the Department of Homeland Security is going to be testing drone technology during these events. Testing drone technology for domestic security during these big events. So you're going to see drones flying all over the place. These will be government drones, federal drones. And they also just signed a contract with Palantir, but I think that was like a data processing thing that they were looking for fraud. But anyway, it's all the same tech companies getting all these contracts. Now, Don Jr. is heavily invested in, what's the name of the company? Unbelievable Machines, I think. Here, let me check. When I found that out, I got a lot of stock in that about a month or so ago when I learned that. So you can imagine how that's doing. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Unusual Machines. We're up today. We're up 2% today. So that's nice. Okay. So there you go. We're entering into the era of AI and drones. Is it even popular? Is this stuff even popular? You know, drones were kind of a fad for a minute. I don't fly drones. I don't have a drone. You know, AI was really popular. I guess people still use AI. It's got its uses. I don't really use AI. I very rarely use AI. Maybe once a day, maybe on average. But this is where it's all going, and everybody that's got the investment in at the ground level is going to be massively rich. And they're all inside of the Trump administration and the Trump family. These are just facts. And I'll just say it like this, too. You know, because there's a lot of push with all the Q posting that Trump is doing, which is kind of the craziest thing ever if you think about it. It shows you the bifurcation of this entire movement now. It's like you either believe the Q stuff, and if the Q stuff is real, then okay, Trump is the greatest president of all time. It's like if the Q stuff is real and Trump arrests 1,000 deep state satanic pedophiles, it's like, okay. Wow, tip of the cap. He did it. American hero. Build the statues. And then if his family just so happens to be investing at the ground level of some companies that are about to get really big in the future, maybe I can kind of sit back and say, well, all right. It's like, you shut down the satanic pedophile network, so, all right. You get away with that one. All right. I'll buy one of your drones, maybe. It's kind of like, yeah, you earned it. But if that doesn't happen, then this administration could go down as one of the worst administrations of all time. Maybe a lot of that hinges on the Supreme Court decision with tariffs. We'll see. They're making a big fuss of that. We'll see. That could be a nightmare if they don't rule in Trump's favor. But doesn't it feel like that's where this is going? Like that's the crevasse here. It's like, okay, either you think all the QAnon stuff is happening or the stuff that's happening is happening in real time. And Trump is posting QAnon psyops to keep you thinking that while the worst stuff is happening, that it's all for the better. It's all secretly for good. Like this. What does Q say about this deal? Trump to interview BlackRock's writer for Fed chair role, Fox Business reports. U.S. President Trump will interview BlackRock's chief bond investment manager, Rick Ryder, on Thursday as a candidate to lead the Federal Reserve. So I think he's not the favorite in the prediction markets yet. I think still Hassett is the favorite there. But you'd certainly think that that's going to change after that interview. This is how things move. Formal special counsel Jack Smith to testify publicly about Trump probes. The House Judiciary Committee hearing is scheduled for January 22nd, comes after an 8-hour closed-door deposition before the same Republican-led panel. So next week, Jack Smith, public testimony. That will be fun. President Trump seems to have forgotten his own policies, and maybe that is believable. And a reporter brought up the $2,000 tariff checks. Trump seems to have forgotten that he said that.
76 for the military, right?
When will those Americans get those checks?
You promised $2,000 checks to Americans based off of your tariff revenues. When can
I did do that. When did I do that?
Well, I mean, you're
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, I did 1776 for the military, right?
When will those Americans get those checks?
Well, I am going to. The tariff money is so substantial that's coming in that I'll be able to do 2,000 sometime, I would say toward the end of the year.
You promised to.
So here's when he said it. Now, this lacks a date, but he did say 2,000 a person. And so maybe this is why for part of the reason why the Supreme Court decision is so big. Maybe he will cut those checks if the decision goes his way. But he forgot he made that promise. And although I don't see the word promise in here. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see the word promise. So I don't like people that read things that aren't there. That's actually a pet peeve of mine. Happens all the time on social media. So there is no promise, but that's the idea nonetheless. But then he says, I did the 1776 for the military. Well, that was actually in the omnibus bill that was passed by Congress, but okay, whatever. I get it. Things are moving so fast in the White House. I don't think anybody can keep up. I'm not sure if anybody can keep up right now. Let's see here. Okay, I think we can press through the rest of this before we take our hour break. But this is so important. I just can't really breeze by this. So let's take our first hour break here. We'll come back. I still have the large stack of geopolitical news, but this next story is really important. And so I don't just want to breeze over it. So let's take the break and spend some time on that before we get into the geopolitical news.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, guys, you probably saw what was happening in Europe very recently with these massive power outages. Now, I hope that we don't have to be concerned with left-wing terrorism shutting down our power grid, but it does look like that was the case in Europe. Well, our friends at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen, they don't want you to be unprepared, whether it's harsh weather, some other disaster, or a leftist terror attack shutting down your power grid. They want to make sure you're prepared, especially when it's cold. Now, that's the key right now in winter. What are you going to do when it's cold? What are you going to do? It's all the talk in the preparedness community, by the way. It's all the talk in the emergency preparedness community. What is it? It's the Vesda off-grid space heater from My Patriot Supply. It's a space heater that does not use electricity or propane. It runs on something called canned heat, which is an indoor safe fuel. With a Vesda stashed in your closet, you know you can keep warm no matter what. It even doubles as a stove so you can cook your food on it. Did you think about that? How are you going to cook food with no electricity? The Vesda space heater, that's how you're going to do it. Now, right now, you can get the Vesda space heater and a bunch more preparedness gear as free gifts when you order the winter survival kit from My Patriot Supply. That's right. It comes with emergency food, other emergency supplies, and the Vesda indoor safe space heater. Can't beat it. All you got to do is go to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. You can see everything that's included. The limited time offer is right there on the screen. This deal is not going to last long, folks. Not much more time left on this deal. So get your preparedness checklist taken care of. Get the Vesda indoor safe space heater. No propane, no electricity, nothing like it on the market. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen.
Navigating between the sane and insane, it's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right. So I've talked about this for a while, and I think I was one of the first people in the media, the independent media, however you want to say it, to address this issue of digital influence campaigns. I might have even been the one to coin that phrase, digital influence campaigns. Well, now it's kind of everywhere. And I was reporting on this more than a year ago now, basically because I was able to see some of the behind the scenes stuff. And it really started to manifest during the H-1B visa debate from Christmas 2004. Many of you may remember that big debate over H-1B visas that Christmas. So the transition period was Trump just won the election. They had these massive digital influence campaigns that were built up, but they were part of the campaigns. They were part of the presidential campaigns, part of campaign spending. And of course, a lot of people on social media were part of it. They were part of it. They were getting paid. And so I just happen to have intimate knowledge of this. But, when you're in the campaign and we were trying to beat the Democrats, it's just kind of like, okay, this is part of the game. So then the H-1B thing happens and they decide that they're going to transfer this infrastructure. They're going to transfer this digital influence campaign infrastructure into different special interests and issues. So this all happens. This is all kind of, this transition period is happening during the H-1B debate. And then they see it through that lens and they say, okay, so now in an off election year, how do we repurpose these digital influence campaigns that we used for the presidential campaigns? How do we repurpose this infrastructure into special interests and special issues? So then they started to make that transition. A lot of the same people got a lot of the same opportunities. Some of it were the exact same groups. Others were groups that were new, but it was all the same purpose. And so they'll get you to pick a singular issue like a SNAP benefits. They'll get you to pick a singular issue like H-1B visas, different stuff like this. Even war, whatever, war, foreign policy. So they saw success with this in the presidential campaign. So they said, let's repurpose this into special interests and special issues. So this is still going on. I called it out. I believe it was January of that year when I saw it being repurposed. I had intimate knowledge of it and I saw it being repurposed. And I just told people, I was like, hey, get ready. You're about to see these digital influence campaigns. It'll be very obvious when you see it. Everybody will basically be copy and pasting the same thing. Now, since they don't do the copy and paste anymore because that's so obvious. So now they have you kind of work up your own message, but it's all digital influence campaigns. It's all paid campaigns. So now there's a story that the Wall Street Journal has about this. And I'm sure you recognize this gal. She's 25-year-old Deborah Lee. She's one of Netanyahu's digital influencers, by the way. And so it must be nice, it must be nice as a fake blonde bimbo that you can, make a lot of money with your social media. And all you got to do is you post enough content. You just post the right content enough and get a large following, and then you can sell your account for these digital influence campaigns. So this is what the Wall Street Journal is claiming. This is a quote from her. I girl bossed my way to the top, literally from TikTok to the White House. And I'll say this, Deborah Lee seems to be honest about this. She doesn't seem to be hiding anything. She kind of seems to pull the curtain with this Wall Street Journal story. Influencer Deborah Lee, 25, has been paid to promote everything from the solar industry to a prediction market platform. MAGA influencers are turning access to the White House into lucrative new businesses. You open the story here. You go to the Wall Street Journal. I think this is behind their paywall. Yeah. So I don't know if you can access this. I think I don't know. Do I have a subscription here? I ended up buying a bunch of these subscriptions so I can share this. Ironically, I think this is one I didn't buy. Washington's new lobbyists paid online influencers with few rules. Corporate and foreign interests pour money into getting pro-Trump social media stars to push their causes. Last summer, Donald Trump's 28-year-old former campaign aide, Alex Brushewitz, had some new advice for the president. Reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Nearly 70% of Republican voters support Trump on this. No brainer, he said to more than 64,000 followers on X. I apologize, guys. I thought I had a subscription to this. I don't. It's behind a paywall, but you get the point. So, again, we had this story first. I had this story first. And what have I been saying? Keywords: access, influencers, digital campaigns. It's all in here. Special interests. So I'm actually appreciative. I give Deborah Lee credit for allowing this story to get out there and sharing her intimate experience with it. The Wall Street Journal covering it. But this has been going on since last year, since a year ago. It's been going on since January 2025. That's when the digital influence campaigns switched from campaigns, elections, to special interest, corporate interest, foreign interest. And that's what it is. I mean, even Netanyahu talks about it. That's what's so funny. It's like when you go out here and you say, hey, you know, Netanyahu had a $9 million purse paying social media influencers. They say, that's a conspiracy theorist. No, he literally said it. That's him saying it. So that's just another weird phenomenon that happens when you tell these stories. So you just need to understand, folks. You just need to understand. And I'm not blaming people. I'm not blaming people. I'm a capitalist. I'm a free market capitalist. I'm not blaming people that use their social media to make money. I'm not blaming them. But the issue here is many of them, they want to come off as honest dealers. They want to come off as independent press. They want to come off as transparent. This is what they want you to think about them, what they want you to believe. This is the mask that they wear. But at the end of the day, their opinions are for sale. At the end of the day, their opinions, their posts, their politics, their policies, it's all for sale. It's all for sale. All of it. And I think you can tell, maybe it's not obvious, but I think you can tell. I think you can have pretty good discernment and see who out there still has their integrity. Who out there has not sold out? Who out there has not taken special interest money, foreign interest money? Who out there actually works for themselves and says what they believe and nothing less? It's a very small amount of people in the media now. Very small amount. And you notice that those are the ones that get attacked the most, by the way. Those are the ones that get attacked the most. And those attacks are also part of the digital media influence campaigns, by the way. It's all connected. Now, we'll eventually kind of revisit some of this with what we see going on social media. But I look at X, and I think X is the greatest app in the world. Definitely the best social media communications app in the world. Doesn't mean it's perfect. Sure, it has its flaws, has its issues. Most importantly, now it's filled with propaganda. There's no doubt. X is there's as much propaganda on X as there is in the mainstream media now. Maybe more. Because it's way more diverse. It's way more directed. So actually, you could argue that X has more propaganda than mainstream news now. But X is still the number one, I'd say the number one free speech platform in the world, because you can do propaganda, you can counter the propaganda. Everybody kind of gets to have their say. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds about algorithm and, selective reach and all of that stuff. Those are all issues that tie into the larger app. But that's what it is. X, as great as it is, and I would still say that Elon Musk purchasing X, one of the biggest things for free speech in the 21st century. Maybe the biggest even. Maybe the biggest. So that's true, but it's also true that X is now probably more propagandized than even mainstream news. So you just need to know that. And they're all coming out of the closet. So good for the Wall Street Journal, good for Deborah Lee, even though she is literally part of a foreign propaganda team with Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't know. Is Deborah Lee an Israeli? Probably. So you can say what you want and feel what you want about that. But you know what? At least she told the story. At least she gave the story to the Wall Street Journal so that people can see it and understand it now. Because, when I say it, when an ugly white man says it a few years ago, it doesn't hit. But when a nice blondie says it, with a little extra skin showing, with the sparkle in the eye and the glisten in the teeth, when the young blonde says it, now it's a story. So, hey, play by the rules of the game. All right, ICE, this is crazy. Yeah, the local police in Bloomington were not so happy to make this announcement. But ICE, one of theirs got caught up in a sting, folks. And it's not so good. Listen to this.
This one shames. This is a tragedy in many respects, but people at the Department of Homeland Security, I know there are great people there that come to work every single day and do their jobs and do it admirably. Unfortunately, Mr. recently married back here is not one of those people. He works for ICE, and he is an auditor for them, a civilian employee. When he was arrested, he said, "I'm ICE boys." Well, unfortunately for him, we locked him up, put him in our jail. He got reappropriated to our jail, and my understanding is he helped send people to send federal authorities. I think he's going to see some federal authorities because I think the feds are going to take this case. So I'm going to close on this and I'll take questions.
Now, this one didn't get as much. ICE agent busted by Bloomington police in Operation Creep, trying to solicit sex from a minor, and then tried to get off with the ICE excuse. So the feds are investigating this. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. That's an issue ICE is going to have to deal with, but it's not really getting much public attention, obviously, especially after the shooting, the ICE-involved shooting the other day. It's such a tragedy. It's such a tragedy that we even have to deal with this. And it's because Alejandro Mayorkas and the Biden administration let in 10 to 20 million illegal aliens, and they need to be arrested. They need to be arrested. Everybody involved that facilitated the invasion of our country in the Biden administration, every single one of them, from members of the administration to the NGOs to the charities, every single one of them needs to be thrown in jail. And that's why it's such a joke. It's such a joke that I have to sit here and talk about a foreign country and a foreign war and a foreign regime change and all these different foreign entanglements. We just had the largest invasion in the history of the world at our southern border, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why more people can't comprehend that that's what it was. That's what it was. It was the largest invasion. It was the largest land invasion in the history of the world at our southern border in 4 years under Joe Biden. Alejandro Mayorkas facilitated it. The NGOs and the charities ran it. They all belong in jail. I want hundreds of arrests, maybe thousands. And yes, that is a priority 1,000 times before Iran. 1,000,000 times before Iran or Venezuela. But when you work for the foreign and special interests, then it becomes your top priority, see? And you don't really care about the American people and the American way of life that's suffering from the largest invasion in the history of this country. And nobody gets arrested. Now, that ICE agent that got busted soliciting a minor, we'll see if he gets off so easy. Now, if he was an Israeli or a member of the IDF, then he would probably already be okay. Remember this one? Let's not forget. MAGA erupts after Israeli official charged in child sex trafficking who flees to Israel. You guys remember Tom Alexandrovich, senior Israeli cyber official, arrested during an undercover operation in Nevada targeting child sex predators, posted bail, and then fled the country to Israel? So we'll find out if this other ICE officer that got caught up in a similar sting, you just saw the police press conference. So an ICE official basically caught in the exact same situation that Alexandrovich was caught in, but one of them got out of jail and free to Israel and is probably living happily ever after, while I wonder if the American ICE agent is going to get such treatment. I wonder. That's pretty amazing. So, okay, let's go to Iran. Let's go to Iran. Now, you have to understand, folks, that it's almost all propaganda. It's almost all propaganda. Almost everything you're hearing and getting as far as Iran is concerned is I'd say 80 to 90% propaganda. Now, I tread lightly on this subject because I don't want to be a part of that propaganda, so I'm trying to cut it down the middle here. I'm going to try my best to just cut it down the middle here and tell you the conclusions that I've reached, outside of the conclusion that this is none of our business and I want nothing to do with it, and this is bad foreign policy and shouldn't be our priority. And the only reason why it is because the Israeli foreign interests that are bought into this administration now. But aside from all of that, you need to understand it's almost all propaganda that you're getting. It's almost all propaganda. And I'm gonna expose some of that and try to give you the best picture I can on the ground. But it's so hard. It's so hard because it's all propaganda. But let's give it a good faith effort here. As an Iranian living abroad, this is from this account, Jang Ju. I oppose foreign interference in Iran's internal affairs. I oppose foreign meddling. I oppose protest violence. I oppose sanctions, war, and economic strangulations that only crush civilians. Iranians like me in the diaspora are not a fringe. We are the silent majority. Don't be misled by bots and foreign-linked accounts that have turned Iranian suffering into a geopolitical tool. So I felt that this is a very fair take, an honest take that kind of just cuts through the propaganda and just serves it up. And I would probably argue this is where a lot of people land. You need to understand now, when there's a language barrier and when there's sanctions and, the whole enemy, everything infrastructure, it's hard to get truth from a foreign country, especially, again, given those barriers. But most of these countries end up a lot like us, folks. There's a left, there's a right, and then there's the maybe majority of people in the middle that are sick of it all. Same story in Iran, same story in Israel, same story in Venezuela. Now, you don't get that pitch because that's a unification factor. The people against their corrupt government. The people against the haves. So they don't want that unification. They don't want that realization. But you'll see it's very similar everywhere you go. Here's another one. This is somebody who's actually there in Iran. Two huge middle fingers to Israel and the Mossad for sowing doubt around the globe about the legitimacy of the homegrown uprising in Iran. Thanks to your stupid tweets, we're watching our compatriots be slaughtered while disconnected from our family and fighting misinformation. So yeah, the CIA, Mossad, Trump administration, Netanyahu. Of course, they're the ones pushing the gas on this. They're the ones that are trying to get the winds into the sails of this. And yet this Iranian, who's probably out there for good reason and out there for her true beliefs, is looking at how the West and Israel is manipulating this and turning it into their regime change war, and they don't like it. And that is exactly what's going on. And everybody sees it, by the way. Everybody sees it. That's why it's so funny when people try to deny that that's what's going on. Like, again, go sit at the little kids' table. Go sit at the little tykes' table. You don't belong at the adult table. The adults are having real geopolitical conversations. This is a Western-backed, Israel-backed regime change war in Iran. There might be a legitimate organic movement on the ground, but that's not what you're watching. That's not what's being promoted. Shut up, you conspiracy theorist, you black pillar, you anti-Semite. Okay, you're a child. Go sit at the children's table. The adults are having a real conversation. You're a joke. So let's get into the actual political makeup of it. There is a left in Iran, there is a right in Iran, and then there's the center in Iran. It's all very similar around the world, folks. It's all very similar. It has different flavors. It has different issues depending on the country and the time and everything else, but it's all very similar. You'll end up boiling it down and finding it's all very similar. A left, a right, all controlled, and then a middle that's sick of it all. And you'll find that their behaviors are very exchangeable no matter where you put them. Leftists in Iran, Canada, America, Israel, wherever. Their behaviors, a lot of the things they believe, they'll all kind of be boiled down to just very similar. You can exchange them anywhere. So that's what's going on in Iran. Now, it's like you have to put this qualifier out there. I have no interests in... I really have no interest in what's going on in Iran because I'm an American and I want nothing to do with it. And I got my own problems. But it's just like, okay, if the Iranian people are going to go do their thing and are sick of their leadership, then go ahead. I'm not standing in their way. I'm not against them. I'm for the Iranian people freeing themselves from a corrupt government. I don't know if that's what's really going on. I don't know if that good movement, that good organic movement isn't being co-opted. I'm with people. I'm with people all over the world that are sick of their corrupt government. I am with them. But let's not be confused about what's going on. This is the Iranian left, folks. These are the radical feminists. I do not support the Khamenei regime. I do not support the Iranian government. Farthest from it. But it's not my problem. It's not my problem. And if our politicians didn't sell us out, it would never be my problem. But so here we are. So you have to understand, the leftist protesters, and there's right-wing protesters, it's probably closer to conservatism versus liberalism in Iran than anything you get in America, by the way. The conservatives in Iran, they don't like women running around half naked. They don't want their children watching pornography. They're like real conservatives, like real conservatives, like a Muslim Amish, if you will. Truly traditional conservative. Now, again, I'm not promoting any of these ideologies. I'm just trying to give you the best layout of the land here. So you've got the right-wing Iranians that are true conservatives. They don't like Western culture. They don't like the music. They don't like the smut. They don't like it. And that's who supports the current regime, or at least is against. I don't even know if it would be fair to say they support the current regime as much as they're just against what they view as a foreign-backed regime change. So it's like they might not like Khamenei, they might not like the regime, but they view these protests as foreign protests. And they've said as much in the interviews. And these protests or rallies, however you want to say it, are just as big as the anti-Khamenei riots or rallies. But you only see one side in the West. Now, this is something that happened in Iran. One of these protest groups, think of it as the American left, They burned a marketplace, as you can see here. So again, what protests in the United States starts fires and burns things down and engages in these behaviors? Well, that's the left. Well, this is what you're seeing in Iran. Now, is that protesters? Is that intelligence assets, proxy assets? Fair question. But nonetheless, this is the aftermath of these protests. Buildings burned, just like you saw in America with the left. So it's something that the left has in common all around the world. They're liars. They lie. And I'll have more proof of that. So here you go. Now, I mentioned this yesterday. I decided to bring some of the videos today. This is a video of Iran. This is a long video of this woman who goes to visit Iran. And what do you notice in this video? Where is it? Here's another one. Syrian girl, same story. She goes to a shopping mall in Tehran. This is her at a mall in Iran with her friend. No cover on their hair, no cover on their face, going around doing some nice shopping. Okay? So there you go. Okay? So now we go to this protest group. Now we go to one of these protesters. And what are they saying? They're telling you, you are not allowed to wear what you want in Iran. You have no freedom. This is what they tell you.
So I'm going to say, imagine this, yeah? You live in a country that you cannot choose what to say, you cannot choose what to believe, you cannot choose what to wear, you cannot even choose what to listen to, the music. Anything, you have to ask for permission. And there's
all right, so there you go. What does this look like to you, guys? What does this sound like to you? These are left-wing protests. They burn buildings and they lie to you, just like in America. Again, I don't support the Iranian regime. I don't support the Iranian government. I don't support Khamenei. I want nothing to do with it. I'm just trying to cut through all the propaganda and tell you what's really going on. So just understand, because I know it's the big right-wing thing, right? It's the big conservative thing. It's the big right-wing thing to support these people. They're leftists. This is a leftist protest. And just like the left in America does, they lie to you and they burn things. Now, I feel bad for the Iranian protesters that actually want to free their people. I feel bad for the Iranian organic movement here that is against corruption in their government. And now they're being used by foreign interests, just like we get used by foreign interests. Now they're being used as foreign interests, and their organic uprising, protesting, whatever it is now being scuttled and co-opted, just like it is here. So I'm just trying to cut through the propaganda, folks. I'm just trying to get you to have a better understanding. I'm just trying to show you all the logical inconsistencies and fallacies in the propaganda as it's being shoved into your consciousness. We're not going to fall for it. And I think it's an incredible spectacle watching those that do. I think it's an incredible spectacle watching those that push it and go along with it. But the most incredible spectacle of it all has to be the fact that these people have completely abandoned the interests of their own country to support this crap. And it's all propaganda. So there's mixed numbers now about how many dead protesters there are. It seems to be that most have concluded at least 2,000 are dead. At least 1,850 protesters reported killed in Iran, as Trump says help is on the way. So that seems to be the lowest number I've seen. The 20,000 number seems to be the highest number. These are the people that are pushing regime change. These are the Israeli bots, the Israeli loyalists, the Israeli agents that are telling you it's 20,000 dead, which is funny. You have to admit, whether it's 20,000 or 2,000, you have to admit it's funny watching all the pro-Israel people, watching all the Israeli agents and Israeli loyalists, watching them cry for the innocent dead in Iran, and yet they celebrate the innocent dead in Gaza. If logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. So we'll come back to that in a second. So it seems the number is anywhere from 2,000 to 20,000. People are fact-checking the 20,000 number, and they're saying it's not 20,000. Apparently, it was Barry Weiss with CBS News. And I don't know if this went, I assume Barry Weiss does checks on all of this, but I don't know that. But now everything is going to have that in the background with her running things now, Barry Weiss. And maybe they were the first people that reported 20,000. It's like, yeah, okay, we understand they do propaganda now for a foreign country. So maybe they were the first person to report 20,000. 20,000, 2,000, that seems to be the range. So, okay, yeah, we don't want to see dead protesters. We don't want to see dead innocent men, women, and children. We don't like that. Unless it's in Gaza, unless it's in Palestine, then we celebrate it. Then we want more of it, right? Yeah. That's how that goes. Amazing how that works, actually. U.S. tells its citizens to leave Iran as Trump pressures Tehran over protest crackdown. Trump also threatens to impose tariffs on any country doing business with Iran. Now, this is where it's starting to get interesting. Now, Trump did announce tariffs today. He made it in a statement. Trump says 25% U.S. tariffs apply to countries trading with Iran, leaving Turkey exposed. So I guess this is the help then, which, you know what? I'm okay with this. I don't mind this. I don't mind the sanctions as long as if this is our response and it's not some sort of kinetic war or boots on the ground or bombs from the sky, then I have no complaints with this. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday that Washington will impose a 25% tariff on all trade with any country that does business with Iran. Now, folks, obviously, this is all a move against China. So you've got Israel's interest at play. Israel's interests are to put a Zionist-friendly or outright Zionist in charge of Venezuela. And, of course, do the regime change in Iran to a pro-Israel leader. So you've got the Israel interests that want a Zionist or Zionist-friendly leader in Venezuela and Iran. And then you've got the U.S. interest, as Trump sees it, from the trade war to get control or get friendlies in charge of Venezuela and Iran so he can try a stranglehold, a pincer attack in the trade war against China. So there's the mutual interests here. There's where the mutual interests align with these two forces. Now, it's unfortunate that we even have to deal with this. If our politicians in our Congress and our corporations didn't sell us out to China, then we wouldn't have to be doing this. And maybe Trump wouldn't have to be doing this. But that's where we are. So I hope it just stays at sanctions. I hope it just stays at sanctions. But you can already see, and I'll have some examples of this, you can already see that the Israel agents and the Israel loyalists are already pissed at Trump because they want Trump to bomb. They want the U.S. military to go in there and get Khamenei out of power. And so they're mad. These bloodthirsty demons, these bloodthirsty monsters are mad at Trump because he won't kill more people for them. It has to be one of the more revealing things we've ever seen, I think, to me. I can't relate to it at all. I have to tell you, I can't relate to that at all. Now, it's like karate. It's like the philosophy of karate. Karate is self-defense. And if you go train karate, you get a master trainer, whatever, it's always about how it's self-defense. And most of karate is self-defense techniques, how to defend and counter. It's not, it's not all self-defense. You can learn some offensive tactics as well, but it's all about self-defense. It's kind of the philosophy of karate. It's like, to me, not everybody has the same philosophy. So maybe that's kind of like, that's like my philosophy as far as war, for the most part, in the 21st century is concerned. I think most issues can be settled without war. And I think most issues of the past aren't even issues because of technology. So I'm more of the karate philosophy where it's like, yeah, we'll do self-defense, and that's when we'll destroy you. It's like, okay, we'll karate, not the Bongino karate man. He's almost kind of destroyed that now, hasn't he? Like a lot of things, perhaps. But no, these people just want death and destruction all the time. They are just full warmongers. And I find it funny that none of them ever go to the front lines. I find it funny that the loudest people screaming for Trump to use the U.S. military and bomb Iran and kill more people, these savages, these barbarians, these freaks, I find it funny that none of them ever go to the front lines. They always love saying this stuff from the comfort of their social media. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Maybe we need new laws. If you support war or you call for more death and destruction in a foreign entanglement, then maybe we should send you to the front lines for a month. And then let's see how you feel after that. Let's see how you feel after a month on the front lines, or if you even make it back. Oh, I bet those big mouths get real small, huh? I bet those big mouths get real quiet real quick, don't they? When they have to put their money where their mouth is. Bet they shut up real fast. But that's what they're doing today. They're pissed off because they want more people dead. You know what? Throw the whole karate thing out the window. I can't even relate to this. Forget the combat element. Forget the combat philosophy. I can't even relate to this on a human level. I really can't. It's like abortion for me. I can't relate to it. I cannot relate to the idea of killing your child. So foreign, so unhuman, so deranged. I can't even comprehend that. It's like it's like maybe I could understand the pressures or the concerns or whatever, but I can't understand the choice of abortion. Like, that is just so unrelatable to me. Can't get it. Don't understand. You're out here talking about abortion. You're out here bragging about abortion, supporting abortion, talking about killing your kids. That is so unrelatable to me. That is unhuman to me. It's the same thing with these warmongers. It's the same thing with these people out here calling for more death and destruction in the Middle East. It's totally unhuman to me. It's totally unrelatable to me. I can't understand it. What is wrong with you? There is something wrong with you. There is a part of your humanity that is gone. Maybe it's a little more nuanced than abortion, but is it really? To me, it's all the same aura. It's all the same energy when we're dealing with these things. It'd be one thing if maybe you were in the military and you were going over there. It'd be one thing if you have actually lived in the regions and the areas that were impacted by this. That might be one thing, but that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about people that have nothing to do with it, don't live there, never been there, never will go there, but they've got all the opinions and they're calling for more death and destruction. Totally unhuman to me. Totally unrelatable to me. Cannot understand it. Just like a woman that celebrates killing her baby. I just do not understand this. Where does this come from? What is this? It's demonic. And you see it everywhere. Now, I got some of the examples. So, Khamenei posted this yesterday. He says, these great rallies, this is the rallies in support of him, which are as big or maybe bigger probably than the rallies against him. These great rallies, overflowing with your firm determination, have completely shattered the foreign enemy's plots that we were supposed to be carried out by internal hirelings. So Khamenei is basically saying, we know we had spies internally. We know we had agents that infiltrated our networks, but their plot to overthrow this regime have failed. Now, okay, you're in an interesting time in this situation. A lot of the people in Iran, Khamenei, the regime, and the people that support him are declaring victory. They're declaring victory today. And part of that declaration is Trump saying we're going to sanction and there's no strikes coming. So there is no, at this point, no plan for U.S. involvement and it's the sanctions. Now, there's all kinds of press out there. There's no shortage of stories and headlines out there that the Trump administration is seemingly in talks every day about a potential plan to strike Iran. And if you asked me, I would say it's probably inevitable. That just seems to be the way that things go in D.C. And Netanyahu always gets his way. Even it's like a struggle session, and Trump will talk trash, and he'll furrow his brow, and he'll get frustrated, and then eventually Netanyahu always gets his way for whatever reason. That's how it works. By hook or by crook, Netanyahu always gets what he wants. So if you ask me, I'd probably say they're going to strike. But as of now, no U.S. involvement other than maybe some assets on the ground. But no military, no strikes, and Trump's big move now in response to the protesters getting killed is sanctions. And they're all demanding strikes, and they're all demanding military action. Demanding it, by the way. Demanding it, saying it was promised to them. So, okay, what's really going on? Did the regime stand up? Did this plot, this effort to do regime change through a color revolution on the streets with the Mossad agents in the crowd, maybe CIA agents, probably a lot of hired contractors? Did it fail? Is it over? Is it a failure? People that support Khamenei and Khamenei himself, they seem to be celebrating. They seem to think this is their victory. There is no regime change. There is no U.S. military intervention. And so here you go again. The American people thrust into a foreign regime change war that they want nothing to do with. And so they're making demands, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get to some of these demands that are being made. By the way, just so you know, this is in Canada.
Do you think that Trump's going to act?
I do believe that Trump is going to act. But every hour, every second that he's delaying the action, we are losing lives. So, Mr. President Trump.
Who's we? This is a Canadian with it looks like an Indian flag or an Iranian flag. I can't tell. There's all these foreign flags. I see Israeli flags. I don't see any Canadian flags. So this is a Canadian demanding that an American president take action in Iran. I mean, folks, this is clown world.
Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, the so-called world leaders, the time of action is now.
You think that
the world leaders? No, they're leaders of their countries. Okay. So again, you're in Canada. Do you see a single Canadian flag? Looks like an Indian flag. Maybe this is an Iranian flag. Here's an Israeli flag. And we're talking about a foreign regime change war in the other side of the world. This is Canada. And this guy, this Canadian here with a foreign flag is making demands of Trump. Like somehow the American people. What is this idea? This is what I'm sick of. What is this idea that the American people are somehow the world's indentured servants? What is this idea that the American people are somehow the slaves of the world, that we have to work 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, pay 30% in taxes to pay for everything all around the world, to subsidize every other country on the face of the earth? What is this idea? Why do I have foreigners today? Foreigners. It's funny. I see this on the right wing. They see foreigners here in America. They got a problem with it. They see Somalis here with daycare centers. They got a problem with it. They see foreigners out on the streets protesting against ICE, waving foreign flags. They got a problem with it. But when it's a foreigner that demands that the American blood, sweat, and treasure get spilled into the Middle East, spilled into another regime change war, now all of a sudden the foreigners are okay. As long as the foreigners want more war and more death and more destruction, now we're with the foreigners. But when the foreigners are here stealing our money, when the foreigners are here rigging elections, the right wing is so tough. The right wing is so tough against foreigners. Look, they run daycare scams. Look, they rig elections. Look, they build mosques. Look, they invade our country. Look, they're causing white people to go away. We're done with the foreigners. And then the same foreigners come up and say, hey, will you support and work and pay in blood and treasure for our regime change war? Absolutely, we're with you, yeah. What the hell is that? When are the American people going to find their pride? When are the American people going to find their spirit, their soul, their sovereignty, their independence, their ideas of self-government and self-sufficiency? I'm done being a slave. I'm ready for the American people to join me. Oh, you support the Iranian protesters. Okay. Do you know you're a slave in your own country? How do you feel about that? Cool. Remain a slave in your own country as long as you're supporting a foreign regime change war. Good. Good. I'm ready. I'm ready. Most Americans are ready. And this is why they had to deter us off of the tax strike like that. This is why nobody's talking about the tax strike anymore. God forbid the American people actually rise up. God forbid the American people actually unite and rise up and have their day of freedom. And we kick the corruption off our back. And we kick the scoundrels off our back. And we reclaim our independence. God forbid. Where are you, America? Where are you? Oh, we talk about the economy. We talk about how it gets harder. We talk about how we're all getting screwed. And then the people that are actually trying to tell you why, and the people that are actually searching for solutions, those are the people you attack? If you want to be a slave for the rest of your life to support foreign regime change wars, if you want to work 60 hours a week and pay 30% in taxes so that you can subsidize the entire planet and that your military can be used for foreign and special interests, then fine. But at least be honest about what it is. I'm sick of it. I am sick as an American of watching foreigners demand something from me, like I owe them something. I can't wait, man. You know it's inevitable. You know it's inevitable. And the reckoning of the Second American Revolution is going to be bigger than the first. It's coming. 1776 2.0 is coming. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what we're going to have left when it happens, but it's coming. It's coming. The vast majority of Americans are sick and tired of watching foreigners act like we owe them something. Most of Americans are sick and damn tired of being a slave for foreign and corporate interests. We're done. We're sick of it. You're not going to lecture me anymore. I got more examples of this. I put these on X. I don't want to spend as much time, but it's just all the posts saying, oh, Trump, America owes us this. America promised us a regime change in Iran. It's a promise. You owe us. I don't work for you. Leave me alone. Now, we all know how Charlie Kirk felt about all of this before he was killed, before he was assassinated. And it's funny, it looks like, are these some of the Turning Point USA donors here that are calling for regime change in Iran? Isn't that funny? So Charlie Kirk was against regime change in Iran, and now he's gone. And now some of the biggest Turning Point USA donors are pushing for regime change war in Iran. Well, sure, these things are not connected. So here's the psychos that I'm talking about. And look, I don't know. I guess I would still consider Laura a friend, but what has happened to you, Laura? Here she is. Bomb the Ayatollah. What is wrong with you? Seriously, like, what is this, guys? And this is why it's so strange. Here's Laura Loomer, who does dog rescues and stuff. Doesn't she promote rescuing animals? And she's a big animal lover, and she goes to animal shelters. And I think that's genuine. I don't think that's fake. I think she's, she cares about animals. She likes animals, whatever. But but people though, we'll just bomb people, whatever. We'll just bomb a bunch of people. I really think this is trauma-based mind control. I really think this is paranoid schizophrenic delusions. I really do. I think there are people that are constantly afraid of the Holocaust. I think they're constantly afraid of white people. I think they're constantly afraid of Muslims, and they literally think all of these people are out to get them 24/7, and then they act accordingly in this paranoid schizophrenia. And as soon as the paranoid schizophrenia kicks in, they just want everybody around. They just want everybody to die. They just want to kill everybody. It's a self-defense mechanism. It's trauma-based mind control. It's paranoid schizophrenia. So there's Loomer wanting to kill Muslims. Here's Loomer wanting to kill Americans. It's like, what is going on, guys? We're supposed to be the good guys. We're supposed to have the touch of humanity. We're supposed to care and cherish life, and it just seems that some of you don't at all. I can't believe how many people on my timeline are criticizing ICE for killing an open borders communist who tried to kill a cop. Everyone's a gangsta until it's time to do gangsta shit. So what are we talking about here? Again, this is all Zionism, folks. This is not Americanism. It's not. This is not the American ideology. This is not the American spirit. This is not the American soul. This is a death cult. This is everything America stands against. It's not really reaching the Western news, but IDF soldiers are committing suicide at an alarming rate. Many of them are testifying in front of the Knesset. Why? And it's because they don't support what's going on in Gaza. So this guy sat down. This is a former IDF, who sat down with Sky News and explained why people are killing themselves and what's really going on in Gaza. So again, this is not Owen Schroyer saying it. This is a member of the IDF saying it.
An Israeli reservist who served in Gaza has told Sky News IDF troops killed Palestinian civilians at random, with orders to shoot sometimes dependent on the mood of the commander. The IDF strongly denies the claim, saying it operates against military targets, not civilians. Our international correspondent, Alex Rossi, has the story for us.
I think everything in a war is kind of messes you up.
It is rare to hear Israeli soldiers speak openly about their time in Gaza. But after 3 tours of duty, this reservist says his conscience won't let him stay silent.
Every commander can choose for himself what he does, so it's kind of like Wild West. And so some commanders can really decide to do war crimes and do bad things and like don't have very consequences of that.
He agreed to talk on condition of anonymity, fearing he could be labeled a traitor or ostracized at home. These photos were taken while he was serving in Gaza, where he was stationed in the homes of displaced Palestinians.
I think you can't be in this scenario for so long and not like normalize it and not like kind of you lose your mind, and then killing is more and more normalized, and you can't see the problem in it. Kind of feel like I took part of something bad.
Now, doesn't this sound familiar about what I was saying? Not cherishing life. It's like the same thing of people that support abortion, the same people that support mass killing, mass death. It's the same thing. This guy gets it. He still has the human soul. He says, I can't relate to this.
And so I think it's like I need to counter it with something good that I do. And I hope that by speaking of it, it can change like how things are being done. And I think a lot of people, if they knew exactly what's happening, they wouldn't, it wouldn't go down very good for them. And they won't agree with it.
Alex Rossi, Sky News.
Just curious. If you had regime change in Iran versus if you had regime change in Israel, which one do you think would get the world or the Middle East closer to peace and farther from peace? Which regime change do you think would result in more peace or less peace? Regime change in Israel or regime change in Iran? Just a question. All right, now you guys know I came out in support of taking Greenland. last week, and I hate to say it. Now it's gone mainstream. And the forces that are aligning in support of taking Greenland have me concerned, I have to say, including one Randy Fine. How can I support anything that Randy Fine gets behind? He's one of the most disgusting people that's ever served in Congress. Maybe the worst, actually. And he flies a Israeli flag higher in his office than the American flag. So you could argue that that's just a straight traitor. But he's truly one of the worst that's ever served in Congress. And he has now introduced the Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act. Damn it. Damn it. Now, in fairness, you can't be the dog that gets wagged by the tail. You can't be that. So you can't be a reactionary and just say, I do the opposite of everything this person does or this group does or whatever. So you don't want to fall into that because you can just as easily be brainwashed and tricked when that's your ideology and that's your philosophy. So we're not going to do that. And I do still think that there really are no negatives that come along with taking Greenland. I do still see it as a positive. I would probably not raise a fuss about it or even support it if it happened. But I do have to say the forces that are aligning in support of it do have me concerned. And so I think what's going to have to happen when this or if this goes down, we're just going to have to pay attention to what happens to the resources. Now, I thought a lot about this again, seeing the forces that are aligning in support of that, including but not limited to Randy Fine and John Bolton and Adam Rubinstein and Ron Lauder, president of the World Jewish Congress. So, yeah, the Israeli lobby is trying to move in there and take the resources. So we can't let that happen. We cannot let the foreign lobbyists move in there and take the resources. That needs to be for America. Now, the problem that we end up having here is, how do you do that? Because who's going to go mine? Who's going to go mine? Who's going to go refine? Who's actually going to go in there and get the rare earths and get the minerals and turn them into a resource that can be utilized by consumers, by tech, by whatever? Somebody's got to do it. And it's got to be the companies that have the ability and the experience to do so. So it's like, okay, you kind of have to, somebody's got to do it. But then how do you make sure that it doesn't just benefit the special and the corporate interests and the foreign interests? So that's going to be threading the needle here, because there's no doubt the foreign interests are already all over this Greenland deal. They're already eyeing it, and they're already telling Trump to let them have it. That's already happening, no doubt about it. So how do we make sure that if we do make Greenland the 51st state, how do we make sure that this actually works out for America and not the foreign interests? We're going to have to keep a real close eye on this. Because even though Randy Fine, John Bolton, and the rest are some of the most despicable people that have ever infiltrated our country, I still don't see the downside of taking Greenland. And if the downside is we get kicked out of NATO, that's a good side. That's just a positive. So, but I'm concerned. You see the foreign interests lining up. You see the same foreign and special interests lining up to steal all of those rare earth minerals and resources and materials. We cannot allow that to happen. So if this deal does go down, we're going to have to keep a close eye on it. But really, the deals might have already been cut. And that is my concern. Kind of like what happened in Argentina, by the way, where the deals were already made to give the foreign interests the burnt down Patagonia. So now they're getting ready to pass anti-Semitism laws in Argentina. Anti-Semitic wildfire conspiracy theories spread in Argentina targeting Israelis. Now, these aren't really conspiracy theories, but okay, whatever. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory that a third building fell on September 11th. No, that literally happened. And I showed you guys yesterday, this is mainstream Argentina. There's no real political culture to support Israel. There's no real Holocaust guilt in Argentina. That doesn't exist. So that you can't really use the same bullying tactics in Argentina to get them to not speak their mind. They don't have the the Israel interests nearly as infiltrated as we do. They don't have the Holocaust guilt hanging over their head like an anvil. So it's like the vast majority of Argentinians now believe that Israel burned down the Patagonia and that Milei cut a deal with them. And that's why they signed the legislation just before the forest burned down so that they can go in and mine for rare earth. So it's mainstream news in Argentina. It's mainstream news. You saw it yesterday. Field reporters, everything. It's mainstream news. There's no guilt of anti-Semitism. There's no guilt of the Holocaust. So now that it's mainstream news that this happened, they're getting ready. And these different world Jewish leaders are going to Argentina to get anti-Semitism bills passed so that you can't talk about the fires. Wow. But I'm sure that will disprove all those conspiracy theories about who really runs the world.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Extra dimensional and multi-universal. Here's your host, Owen Schroyer.
So James Fishback is out here ratioing adult models. I don't even want to say the word. It'll trigger the algorithm. But you all know what I'm talking about. James Fishback is out here ratioing, like these are the top paid internet hookers. What should we call them? Internet strippers, internet whores, however you want to say it. These are the women that get naked on the internet for money. The biggest in the world, millions of followers. They make like hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And so Fishback, running for governor of Florida, introduced the sin tax. And I'm against taxes, but I'm watching this one play out. The sin tax. So he wants to tax these internet strippers 50%. Now, again, folks, these are young women that dance naked on the internet and make hundreds of millions of dollars. And he says he's taxing 50% of that. He's calling it a sin tax. So the industry, let's say, these young girls are responding to him, and he's replying online where they have millions of followers. This one right here, Fishback has 185,000 followers on X. This internet stripper has 3.2 million followers. She shoots a video with, the cleavage out, everything. It's all happening. And he's ratioing them. I'm for it. And you know what? This is an interesting conversation to have. And maybe it's long overdue. And this isn't like a big issue for me because it's kind of, it's like a freedom issue, right? But the numbers are astounding when it comes to internet traffic on these websites and the money that gets spent on these adult sites in the United States of America. The numbers are outrageous that a 20-year-old girl can strip on the internet and make hundreds of millions of dollars. So, it'd be actually funny. Again, I understand there's a little, I'm opening myself up as a hypocrite to say that I support taxing these ladies. I admit that because I'm against taxes. I am. So that's fine. I'll take that criticism. But wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny? You got police officers that go out there, they risk their lives every day. They make like 80,000, 90,000 a year. And then you have these internet strippers that make 90 million a year. They make $90,000 a day. They make a police officer salary in one day dancing naked on the internet. Wouldn't it be nice if we basically just took that money and gave it to teachers and schools and hospitals? It's hard to disagree. You got to admit, it's hard not to support that, even as somebody that wants like no taxes, like 2% taxes across the board is like, that's max for me. 3%, I'm starting to get angry. 30%, I'm up here screaming 5 days a week. But hard not to support that policy. Sorry, 19-year-old online stripper that made $100 million last year. Sorry, we're going to take $50 million of that and we're going to invest it into teachers and our schools. Sorry. How can you? I mean, it's hard not to support that. But Fishback is out here ratioing them. You know what, ladies? Maybe you should show a little humility. Actually, maybe you should show a little humility. I remember Joe Burrow came out this season in a post-game interview. He was talking about the process of rehabbing and how painstaking it is. And he was like, but he's like, I really can't complain. I get paid tons of money to play a kid's game. It's the greatest thing in the world. How can I complain? It's like, that's the right attitude. That's the right attitude. So maybe these young internet strippers, maybe you ought to humble yourself and maybe you ought to say, yeah, you know what? I probably make too much money. It's true. And if there's some way that I can give back and actually make the community a better place that I'm making a worse place by being a whore, then maybe we can do something, but let's not get the government involved, right? Let's just not get the government involved. So why don't we just say, you know what, if Fishback gets elected, I don't know if you want to be in the same room as these women, quite frankly, but it's just like they make hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's like, okay, I'll tell you what, we won't get the government involved, but what we're going to do is you guys are going to make a group and you're going to give back. And maybe we can turn these internet strippers into a force for good. Because you're not going to stop the people from paying money to see them. You're not going to stop this phenomenon from happening. It's only getting worse. It's only getting bigger. So maybe you can boomerang it into, maybe you can turn something that is awful and maybe squeeze something good out of it. Oh, wow. Phrasing. Oh, my gosh. We got to stop there. We can't. Now it's too much. Let's go to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I don't think of any other way to avoid what just happened here. We gotta get out of here. We gotta go to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So this is happening. There was a plan to build a mosque, and nearly everybody in town showed up for the city council hearing and pushing back against building this mosque in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. This is how it's done. This is organic. This is grassroots. This is local politics, and they're going to stop this from happening. Good for Oklahoma. 90% Republican, by the way, in Oklahoma. Oh, boy. Here, now, you want to talk about a deranged leftist. Now, it's funny when you see these leftists, they're all anti-gun until they realize that they can use a gun to kill you. And then all of a sudden, they're pro-gun. So here's an example. I'm sure this woman is a pleasure to be around. Liberal influencer The Stacey Shows talks about a trip to the gun range.
Good afternoon.
You know what? I have her muted. That's unintentional, but I think we all probably don't want to hear her talk. But here you go.
Good afternoon. Fuck Donald Trump.
I'm blown away. Where did you come up with that genius?
I was at the range, and it'll do your heart good to know there was a lot of women there. I was there, not with but with the little one that I carry with me all the time, and I'm going to show you up here a little picture of what I was aiming at today. You motherfucking MAGA fucks, you might think that we're out here just sitting around wondering what's going to happen. I ain't wondering about shit, I know what's going to happen. Fuck you.
psycho killer. Just to sing. Better run away.
You know what's funny? That's Laura Loomer in 20 years. At this rate, that'll be Laura Loomer in 20 years. So here's this leftist. What are you saying? She's training at the gun range to kill Trump supporters. She's training at the gun range to kill ICE, to kill Trump. She says she's a psycho killer with the music in the background. What are we saying here? I love how liberals are all anti-gun until they figure, well, I guess I can kill you with one. Now they're pro-gun. I love how this woman is like, ooh, conservatives, right-wingers are going to be scared because I'm going to tell them that women are getting gun training and women are at the gun range. What are you talking about? We support that. That's like our policy. So I don't really know who you're talking to. Stacy Shows. Here's another deranged liberal. This is hilarious. This guy, he's from Wisconsin. Okay. And he looks like it. He drove 4 hours to Minneapolis to stand guard at a Mexican restaurant because he's afraid ICE is going to raid a Mexican restaurant. Because all Mexicans are illegal immigrants, I guess, by his measurement here. Is that what the, because that sounds a little racist, judgmental, xenophobic, maybe. I'm not sure. But he traveled 4 hours to guard a Mexican restaurant. I hope he at least got a free taco.
Paul, you came in from Madison, Wisconsin. That's a long drive. Help explain to me why you're here outside of this business right now.
So I'm out here right now because this business put out a call for people to stand on this corner to watch the business for them. They've been really worried about reopening. They were shut down for the past 5 days after ICE was here, and they just aren't comfortable just doing this on their own.
And this is a Mexican restaurant and grocery store. And Paul, I see that you have a lot of equipment on you. You have a camera, obviously. You have another GoPro back here. You've got this acts as a whistle, you were telling me. And you've also got a first aid kit. It would be easy to understand why somebody wouldn't want to be coming out here to do the work that Renee Good was doing after she lost her life. But instead, you drove in 4 hours away.
He's a hero.
Why is it so important for you to be here right now, to be doing this work right now?
Yeah, I have family in this community, so I was really worried about them. They shared their concerns, and they have a young son. They're not able to do this work. They're not able to stand here and watch over the neighborhood. So I'm here for them, for this community. This is what they need. They need to see people in this community out here supporting them, showing them that we are not afraid of this state-sponsored terrorism.
And the Trump
just state-sponsored invasion, just state-sponsored illegal alien invasions. And I guess your plan is to commit a crime and stop law enforcement operations is your plan there. And your whistle is going to be the hero. I can't wait. Your whistle is going to be huge. Okay. That whistle. I just don't know what's going to get more action tonight. That whistle or his boyfriend. All right. Did you get it? Was that a good one? You guys like that one? I write this stuff myself. I don't even write it. It just comes to me. It's like a bolt of lightning. My goodness. Okay. This is a wild one. Have you guys ever seen this? I'd never seen this before. I can't believe it either. Project Runway is I guess it's a popular TV show where they do like modeling stuff. Project Runway. They did an episode in 2019. Okay. This is from April 2019. I'm not going to tell you what you're about to see here. I want to see if you pick up on this without me pitching it. This is an episode of Project Runway on television from April 2019. Tell me what you notice.
As soon as she walked out, I thought, oh, she's sick, but like sick in a good way. It's sick. The outfit is sick.
I loved COVID's look. Thank you. Do you mind putting your mask back on? Can you breathe in there? A little bit.
Can you breathe in there? A little bit.
A little better like it's a good look, but we want to keep you alive.
She's sick. As soon as she...
A model named COVID showed up with a mask on her face. The odds of that are probably so impossible that there are no odds. I don't even think you can crunch the numbers because there are literally no odds. Okay. Hey, some good news. U.S.-Russian relations. A positive note here. NASA astronaut hands ISS, International Space Station Command over to Russian cosmonaut. The U.S. and Russia, it's nice to see us getting along. Crew 11 will be departing the International Space Station early due to an unspecified medical issue, with command of the ISS changing to Roscosmos cosmonaut Sergei Kudshevkov. The crew exchanged farewell messages with their fellow crew, expressing gratitude to each other and sorrow that the mission was being cut short. After command was handed over to Kudshevkov, let's try to get this one. Kudshevkov. Kudshevkov. I think we got that one. Kudshevkov. Now say it with a Russian accent. Kudshevkov. Kudshevkov. The astronauts had a group hug before Kudshevkov thanked those on Earth for supporting the International Space Station. It's nice to see Russia and America getting along. Hey, a tragic loss. Scott Adams passed today from cancer at age 68. And Scott Adams was a great American. He was a great human. I'm not sure there was a bad cell in his body. And I hate to even say this, but I'm probably not going to cover it again after today, but I won't even put it on the screen. Folks, the headlines that the left-wing media were writing covering his death today, these people are despicable. They really are. I'm not even going to show the headlines. I'm not going to read what they say. You can only imagine, but they're just despicable. And it just shows you why these people really can't be reasoned with and how there's something deeply disturbed inside of them. If you have that much disdain in your body that you can't even let Scott Adams pass in peace, then there's something wrong with you. But rest in peace, Scott Adams. There's some crazy stuff on Drudge today. O'Keefe undercover on J.D. Vance. Secret Service agent. Sensitive info leaked. Locations exposed. Trump was at a Ford plant today. Apparently there were some protesters there. There might be some developing headlines from that. The big story is in Iran. No regime change yet, but the protests are the counter protests, the propaganda in the U.S. Still pretty heavy. Still pretty heavy there. All right. Oh, Pentagon buying Havana syndrome weapon. By the way, so I will put this as we heard, and it's now pretty much confirmed by the White House. By the way, I would say Caroline Leavitt shared that story about the Venezuelans talking about the U.S. military operation to capture Maduro, and Caroline Leavitt ended up sharing it. So basically, they were using some sort of an LRAD or ILRAD. There's some different types, but it seems like they were using some precise laser weaponry to basically completely incapacitate whatever Venezuelan forces were protecting Maduro or might have tried to protect Maduro. They were incapacitated. Now, it's funny. There was a report from Peter Doocy years ago, like 10 years ago, when Peter Ducey was still young and kind of cutting his teeth in the media, just doing some random, field reporting stuff. But he actually went out and they tested this on him. You may remember the video. It was on Fox News. But he did a military test. He stood on the X, and then they hit him with the LRAD or whatever this laser weapon is, and it basically either it creates the illusion that you're burning to death, or it somehow triggers your cells to make you feel like you're burning to death, whatever. But if they hit you with this precise laser-guided technology, you're incapacitated completely. Now, at the time, when Peter Ducey shot that report, at the time, the military was not ready to roll it out because it wasn't practical, because it was so precisely targeted, and just one of these units cost $10 million. Now, this was like 10, 15 years ago. So this comes out today as the news that the Pentagon is purchasing these weapons. Mystery Havana virus device costs at least $10 million and fits in a bag. I saw that number and I was like, this can't be a coincidence. $10 million was the exact same number that they told Peter Ducey one of these targeted laser weapons cost. But because it was so impractical at the time, $10 million wasn't worth it. Well, maybe it is now. Maybe it is now, and maybe the military is using this in operations. And maybe they tested it in the field for the first time in Venezuela, one of these weapons that's essentially a laser, and they direct it at you. And I guess maybe they can do it at a group now, or maybe the target can be a larger zone now. But it sounds like this is what they used in Venezuela, and it sounds like the military is now utilizing this technology and maybe even expanding it, and it's a much more practical weapon system than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I think that it's confirmed by the White House that that's what they used. So now it's just a matter of, is it the same technology that they revealed to Fox and Peter Ducey years ago, or is it something else now? Is it something bigger now? Let me see if there's anything else before we go to the super chats and maybe try to take phone calls. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, an American who volunteered to join Israel's army, Carmeli Brigade, and fought in Gaza has taken his own life, Joshua Yeshua Boone. So I meant to cover that when we covered that Sky News IDF clip and how they're committing suicide. An American, likely under the same trauma described in that video, has taken his life. So that's unfortunate. Thomas Massey trying to defund foreign aid with a bill. Trump approval is trending down in most states. Economy, number one reason. Let's see. I think we got it all. For today. So let's go to the super chats. See if we can't get some super chats done here. And then with time remaining, maybe take some phone calls. So let's go to the super chats again, just as a notification here. The Rumble rants, every once in a while we get a Rumble rant. I'm trying to redirect everybody, at least for the time being, to the YouTube super chats because the system I have doesn't hold over Rumble rants, so I can't see them. But it does hold over the super chats on YouTube. So give us a follow, give us a subscribe on YouTube, the Owen Report on YouTube. And we do read the super chats at the end of every show from YouTube. And so that's how we go about that. Tay from Florida, nice coffee maker. You noticed, I shot the video in my kitchen last night. You saw my coffee maker in the background. That's where I make my Blackout Coffee. You know that. That's where the Blackout Coffee gets made. Deprogram TV. Can we get Adam Green on the show? This is a waste of time. We're dealing with a psychological disorder of NPD and psychopathy in high places. We can have a collab with Adam Green. As I said, I just don't like doing guests on the show as much when it's kind of like open conversation, but we can do it. We can get Adam on. We can, we'll respect your request. We've talked to Adam before. So, we'll see if we can't, make a collab happen. From Jennifer K. Just tuned in, so I might have missed the segment. Rand Paul told Rogan on the pod today that he sent indictment documents to Pam Bondi for Anthony Fauci, and she's done nothing with them. Do you think Trump will get rid of her? I think two things. I think that Trump likes having Bondi around because she's so incompetent that when things don't happen, it's easy to blame her. And so I think Bondi takes a lot of the heat off Donald Trump. And you actually notice in the Trump cultists now, they all attack Bondi. So it's like Bondi is fair game for everybody to attack. Even the Trump cultists who would suck the wind of Trump's farts if they could, even they're against Bondi. So it's like Bondi is the perfect scapegoat for things not getting done in this administration. So for that reason, I think Trump wants to keep her around. But I think she is also causing internal problems inside of the FBI, inside of the DOJ. Her incompetence is so overwhelming. And even though she might be a good scapegoat when things don't get done, there's so many things that aren't getting done that I think Trump even himself might be getting sick of it. Now, there's rumors that Trump is talking about it behind the scenes. It's hard to tell. He's been critical of her momentarily, but mostly overwhelmingly supportive. But yeah, Rand Paul and Joe Rogan today, I watched the first hour. The first hour was mostly all about COVID and what you're talking about here. But that's what it is. Criminal referrals go to Pam Bondi's desk to die. And that's why you never get anything out of Congress. They do their job, and then they send the criminal referrals to the Attorney General, and Pam Bondi does nothing. She literally does nothing. And so Fauci is just one of many examples. Captain Hard, the real reason why they want Greenland minerals, we already have the permissions and authority to put as many military bases in Greenland right now. Well, I said part of the reason why I want to do it is I want to build a military operation and pull all the troops out of Europe. Every single troop. I don't know what the number of bases in Europe is. It's probably over 100. Maybe you pick one country and leave one there. Like maybe Germany, because we're so embedded in Germany. And isn't the base Ramstein? I think it's Ramstein. How can you not like Ramstein? Like, let's just keep that base. But no, I'd like to see that get done. I think if we're going to pull troops out of Europe, maybe just build a military installation in Greenland and just have that operating as the European bases were. But bring the troops home. Bring them home. Captain Hart again. Someone at the factory Trump was speaking to called him a pedo protector. He did the middle finger back at him. This is a reality TV show. I wasn't so convinced of that. I know what you're talking about. I'm not exactly sure that that's how it went down. I don't know. I didn't look at it I didn't look at it with that much detail, but it's like, you know, you're in a factory. The acoustics are weird. Who knows if Trump even heard him? Who knows if it was a middle finger? I don't know. But it is true. That's, I feel like anytime Trump now is out in public, that's going to happen. Kind of like how it happened with Bill Clinton. Robert Biggerstaff. It's a very fine balancing act to take on the woke right Israel firsters without becoming as miserable and hateful as they are. Well said. That kind of encapsulates, I guess, my opening little soapbox monologue right there. Well said. And that's it. That's very well said. Let's leave it there. Peaky Blinder. Be like water, Bruce Lee. All right, no arguments there. Scotty Gesso. It just so happens. I see what you've done. It just so happens only the truth can set us free, scot-free. Time to expose Satan and take our lives back. Robert Biggerstaff. Has Pastor Locke moved to Israel yet? I think he probably has a settlement there, or maybe he's establishing one in New Palestine. That's such a crazy thing. It really is such a strange phenomenon, isn't it? And yet that interview that I had with him still goes viral like every single week. Tay from Florida. Rest in peace, Scott Adams of Dilbert. Call sign Pilgrim. It's true and sad that the passion of our Lord has been diminished in this country. The love for our fellow man, regardless of race or creed, we are all pawns of the Zionist war taking place. Most people would have no idea about your last sentence there 10 years ago. Most people do now. Whether they agree with that conclusion or not, they understand what you're saying. Danny Norton Kim, Bibi and Trump remind me of Pinky and the Brain. That's an original. That's an original. Okay. Who do we like more? Pinky and the Brain or Trump and Netanyahu? I wish it was Trump and Putin. I'd prefer that tag team personally. That's the one I would go with. If we were picking our twosome for NBA Jam, I'd go Trump and Putin. I'd have Netanyahu on the bench. I wouldn't want it. Robert Biggerstaff, rip Scott Adams, rest in paradise. A great American. Chatty Boom Batty, cold hard Texas pimp. Well, you might be hearing from me and a Texas pimp later tonight. Stay tuned. Just stay tuned. Angel Silva, deserve access to MJ. Are you okay with the whole younger generation turning into drug addicts? Do you think Trump is siding with the drug cartels? Are you talking about marijuana here? I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Is MJ marijuana? I don't know what else that would mean. Are you okay with the whole younger generation turning into drug addicts? You know, that is so open for interpretation because what drugs are you talking about? Are you talking about street drugs? Are you talking about pharmaceutical pills? You could say both are happening. I don't know. I mean, it seems like the young kids aren't into drugs. That doesn't really seem to be a thing. The young kids are into like social media, internet trends. They like vaping. They like nicotine. But they don't, I don't know. It doesn't seem, they're not into drinking. Kids don't drink anymore. You know, it's hard to really get a feel for that. It's hard to get a vibe for that because it does seem that the culture is so much different. And I think most of it is internet, social media. Because when I was in high school, it was like Facebook pictures that was like the whole social media world. Maybe you still had an AOL Instant Messenger account, but it was like we didn't really, you know, social media, cell phones, smartphones, like we didn't really care. That wasn't really a thing. We listened to music and, you know, played drinking games or had a house party or, you know, whatever. So it seems like the culture with the youth has changed. I don't think if you ask, do I think Trump is siding with the drug cartels? Well, not the street drug cartels, the pharmaceutical drug cartels, though, yes. I don't like the younger generation being turned into porn addicts. That's what I don't like. And I saw Dave Ramsey. I played the clip. Dave Ramsey is talking about how young men are getting trapped into this demonic sports gambling cycle. I don't know if it's that bad. But I look at this and I see these numbers that these internet strippers are making, and it's $1 billion enterprise in the United States alone. And I think that's a young man problem. I got a bigger problem with that, I would say. I guess you got to be 18 to go buy marijuana, I think. Or is it 21? I don't know. I don't really see the kids talking about marijuana or really that into marijuana or drugs or drinking. But they all seem to know about these internet strippers. So I've kind of got to, I think that's probably a bigger concern to me. But it's all about just curing culture. These are cultural decisions. They need to be left up to the individual. So that's why I don't know. It's like I don't really support government intervention. But it's hard to disagree with a good plan. Stephen Hancock sent a super sticker. I don't know what it is, but thank you, Stephen. Marina Gavrich. Mind if I do a business plug on a super chat? Is that allowed, frowned upon? I don't know. I don't think I've ever really ran into that. So honestly, I probably shouldn't even say this because I'm opening myself up, but screw it. Folks, I pretty much just read it. I pretty much just put it on screen and read it. One day that'll probably go horribly wrong, and I'll have to change tact on that. So do with that information what you will. How about that? Ben Dover. Thank you, Ben Dover. As a video game music enjoyer myself, I appreciate the break music. Not familiar with what games they are from, though. Some of them you should know. Others are a little more deep cut. Maybe someday we'll reveal it. But these are the games I grew up playing, if that's any hints. Brotherfly lineage. They're shaping the North American Union. A lot of that talk going around. A lot of talk about basically like some sort of a trilateral agreement where China takes one region, Russia takes another region, USA takes another region. A lot of that going on. 1of1K. Hey, Owen, I'm putting together a research paper on drones in my area to summarize the part of the PNW that I'm from. We are a sample test. So it sounds like you're really into drones. So is the U.S. military, and I think Amazon soon too. I wonder what it's going to be like in 5 years. There's just going to be drones all the time. Now, Amazon has started drone deliveries. They're very selective, but there are parts where you can get. There are areas where you can get a drone delivery, and the big complaint right now is the noise factor. It's a really loud buzzing. You know, it's not as loud as a helicopter, but you can imagine a helicopter, landing in your neighbor's yard. So that seems to be the one complaint that Amazon had with the drone deliveries. It's probably inevitable, but the noise issue seems to be the big complaint there. From Ricardo Nino. Salute, just found your channel. I'm assuming you're somewhere in Europe. So glad to have you along for the ride, Ricardo. Nice to know you found the channel. All right, guys. Let's see. We got some video game people in the chats. They're debating about what we're playing. And as usual, some people in the chat that are just totally unhinged. And we love them too. We love them all. Equal opportunity here. All right. We got time. We're going to open up the phone lines, guys. We're going to do it. Let's go. Okay. Phone lines are open. 747-255-60, 747-255-60. Number is on the screen. When you hear somebody hang up, that's your opportunity to get in. So there you go. Single line, I ask you your name and where you're from. First caller of the show, what's your name, where you're from?
What's going on, Owen? It's Alex from Kentucky.
What's up, Alex?
Oh, not too much. Honestly, didn't watch the show today, but hopped on just enough time to get you live and get the call. Big fan of the video game music. It is kind of gives me like an 80s kind of pump up vibe.
Should we expand?
Yeah.
Should we expand the video game music library? Because I've whittled it down to like 2 or 3 things.
There's one you play pretty early on. It kind of starts off slow and gets pumping up. That's a good one. I don't know the game.
Someone will figure it out eventually. Somebody will figure it out. I'll send them a polo when somebody figures it out.
I think you should do a reveal at some point, though. Maybe show the game what the tune is. That way we can go look it up on our own.
I could play the game.
Even better. Let's turn it into a politics, gaming kind of hybrid.
There you go.
But really, at this point, with what's going on, right or left, I can't really. I've just been so out of it. I just kind of feel like we all just need to look at our own lives and families and just go off in the woods and prepare for the worst at this point. Growing up, my dad would always say, he's worried about my future and my kids. At this point, I'm kind of starting to think, what about my kids' future? I don't even have kids, but if I do, I'm 29. Just seeing where things are going, especially everything globally. I'm all for taking Greenland too. I like to do outdoorsy, cold weather stuff. So going up there, maybe do some camping. Let's make it a 51st state.
It seems like it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. The right foreign and special interests want it to happen, so they get everything they want. So I do think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just kind of disappointing, this whole administration. But yeah, I agree. The show you had the other day where let's just look at what else is on the table. What else can they do good? We know what we're not going to get. We kind of know what's happened. But what else? What can be done going forward?
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to take some other calls, and it's good to hear from you today. But you missed the beginning of the show. You brought up the video game music. It actually kind of ties into something at the beginning of the show. So if you were there at the beginning, you guys, I was talking about how some people are just kind of losing it in the craziness of the political world these days. I was kind of addressing that from something I saw last night. And I think, I don't think I'm the only one that sees it. And the instinct when you see that, in fact, I know I'm not the only one that saw it. I saw, and I don't know, maybe he's coming from a different place because Nick Fuentes, I think, kind of originally started doing video game streams. But I saw that Nick recently said he wants to go on, I think it was Kick, and start doing video game streams again. And so I think it's kind of coming from the same place where it's just like the political world is so nasty. It's so corrupt and people are like losing their minds. And so it's like you almost have to now, it's like when you're a part of that, you almost have to now be a part of providing an outlet. And, I'm not much of a video gamer these days. It's actually kind of frustrating because I got a new Switch for Christmas, the Switch 2. And do they make good video games anymore? Honestly, it's like they don't even make good video games anymore. And part of the reason why video games were so popular when we were growing up, because anybody could play. Anybody could sit down and pick up a controller and play. These games now are so convoluted, and there's so many different layers and elements and button sequences. It's like you can't even play. So I get the Switch 2, and I got like 4 games with it. It's like the new Pokemon game. It's like, okay, whatever. It's Pokemon. They are always trying to reinvent it. It's like, just can you give us one that's like the original? That's just like a linear game to play, and we go through mazes and challenges, and there's like 2 buttons. It's like, can we just get one? It's like I can't even play these games anymore. I got the new Madden. It just sucks. There's literally no other way to describe it. Madden 26 or whatever it is, I give it a 0. I give it a 0 out of 10. It is an unplayable game. It is unplayable. I played the new Mario Kart. It's Mario Kart, so it's playable. And they kind of did a new take on Mario Kart and the races. It's like, okay, it's playable. It's just the same thing. It's like, do they make classic video games anymore? Do they even do it? Like, are there ever any classic video games anymore? Is it just more slop? Just throw it out there and it's just like nothing ever sticks. Or maybe I'm just getting old. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old. But I feel like these new games are just not good. I don't see the appeal. I don't see the fun. It's like it used to be. The main purpose was like, you want to be able to beat the game. If you're playing a single player game, it's like you want to be able to beat the game. You can't even beat these games anymore. Or you want to be able to pick it up and play it with your friends. But you can't even do that anymore. You got to pay for internet, or it's like 1,000 different buttons, and it's just like, maybe video games just suck now. Maybe. I don't know. So, yeah, tried the new Switch, just, unimpressed. And I was flying. I flew around during Christmas, New Year's break. So was on a couple planes, playing it on the plane. I even prefer the old Switch games. It's like, so I don't know. Do they even make good video games anymore? Does that even happen anymore? Do they make a Halo 3 anymore? Do they make a Call of Duty Modern Warfare anymore? Do they make like original Mario games and Pokemon games and I don't know, Bond games? They're coming out with a new Bond. It'll probably suck too. All right, next caller. Where you from? What's your name?
Tahoe, New York, man. My name is Ahmed.
All right, Ahmed, go ahead.
What's going on? Last time I called Owen, it was like you talk about the Venezuela thing. You were doing the live stream at like 3 or 4 in the morning. It was like Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Kind of hung up on me. I didn't feel too right about that, but it is all right. I would like for an apology. Yeah, you hung up on me because
I'm about to hang up on you again.
Why are you doing that to me? Bro, I've been supporting you for years, bro.
What do you want to talk about today? You call in every show. You're on the air. What do you got?
Stop. I feel you, but like, yo, dude, these I'm an authentic supporter, bro. I'm not a fucking like genetic AI bot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's wrong with the movie industry right now. That's what's wrong with the video game industry because storylines suck. Storylines suck, bro. And people are disingenuous. And people want authenticity and genuine, like souls, bro. Like people can smell a fucking a rotting soul nowadays. That's why people are like that's why people come to New York, bro, because it's a beehive of rotting souls and walking around the corpses. And I work for big corporations. I work for big companies. Shut the fuck up, bro. You don't do shit, man. But anyway, I wanted to talk about how the Metropolitan Police in the UK. They're basically ousting anybody that belongs to the Freemasonry. If you're a member, you have to disclose it, whether or not you're a Freemason. But yo, Owen, I'm just saying, bro. A lot of people don't know about me. You know who I am, and when I give an introduction to who I am, it entails other things. And I understand. I'm not going to bring up other things, but you shouldn't hang up on me, bro. Like I go into battle combat with you, bro.
What? Hang up on you? What are you even talking about? I let you on the show all the time. Here, let me ask you a question. Let's actually talk about something. Did you see Eric Adams' rug pull?
Man, what are you talking about? He works for Israel, doesn't he?
No, he rug pulled his meme coin.
New York City token, whatever. But the guy works for
Didn't he make
Israel, right?
He made like 80 million. Well, yeah, he does. But I was asking about the meme coin.
Yeah, but he'll probably be investigated, hopefully, by the Trump administration.
Oh, yeah, right. They cut a deal. You know Adams isn't getting investigated.
So you think they're going to funnel that money to the Trump administration or something?
No, the deal's already been cut. Adams walks. He does whatever he wants, and it's all good.
So where does that money go?
Right into Eric Adams' pocket, baby. Are you kidding me? He's going to get another. He's going to get a diamond stud. He's going to come back with the most glorious diamond stud in his ear you've ever seen. It's going to be bigger than a pear. This guy's going to have a whole. It'll come right from Israel Jewelers too.
Yo, listen, the Owen Report token. It's available right now. Go get it. Go pump that shit up, man. We're gonna make our own storyline, man. Because all the
what
other
are we calling it?
What
are we gonna the Owen coin? You call it the Owen coin. Yeah. We're gonna meme coin rug pull. No, I don't think so. I don't have the capacity or the interest. Probably could make money. That's what they all do. That's a fun call. All right. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hey, Owen, it's Water Snob Sam.
Sam, coming out hot. Go ahead.
Water. I love my water machine. I love it. My CovePure.
It's the best. It is the best.
I just wanted to tell you, I was scrolling through X, and I came across some video or meme for Dan Bongino talking about black pillars, and there's a little song about all the black pillars, and you got a little cameo in there.
Is that the
I tagged you in it.
Is that the Matt Baker one? The Matt Baker music video?
I'm not sure. I didn't pay attention to who wrote it, but I saw it and I was just cracking up. Like he's showing all these black pillars, and there's a little song. It's like, "Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Ain't nothing gonna hold me back."
Yeah,
that
well,
one.
there's a couple of. I get so overwhelmed now. It's like I have to find a way to focus on the show every day without getting distracted. But yeah, there's a bunch of videos. Some of them are hit pieces. Some of them are funny. So I'm not sure. It sounds like you're talking about the Matt Baker one that's like making fun of Bongino.
Maybe. Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, I've like now my new career is trying to get blocked by Dan Bongino. I'm trying really hard. He hasn't blocked me yet.
Well, we're a little suspicious.
But,
Actually, we're a little suspicious of you now. You might be a Fed. So we're going to have to get that taken care of. That's a little suspicious there, Sam. Okay? Go ahead and get that taken care of for us. All right? Thank you. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hi, I'm Shaheen. I was just calling to ask if you'd try to get Adam Green on the show from No More News. I just think it's really important because, you got the Federal Reserve, 1913, set up by the Rothschilds. You got Israel set up by the Rothschilds after World War II. It's all connected to Israel. I mean, all this timeline. Even Trump was bailed out by the Rothschilds at one point in his life. So
yeah, and apparently the Rothschilds were introducing people to Epstein. The Rothschilds are supporting Trump's regime change wars. Mm-hmm.
Sure, but where's the intuition of you guys actually seeing that beforehand, before putting all your support behind Trump, you and Alex Jones, right? For 10 years, you guys were supporting him. I mean, there's some history that we don't know about World War II where you've got the pagans against the religious world order, which is this Jesuit order, the Zionists, right? The Zionists set this thing up like a cult, almost like it's narcissistic personality disorder. They created this belief system to be able to take over the world. And the way that things are going, where you see them setting up these protests and going into countries and taking them over, I mean, they're in a psychological position to where they're okay with doing these things, right? They've been traumatized, they're traumatizing. And I think this has a lot to do with psychology, and it's something that you should look into. And I wouldn't even believe their belief systems, right? When Christians and Muslims, they pray to God, it's an Abrahamic God, right? It's all set up and created by these people in power, the Jews. Not that all Jews are behind it, but it's something to think about. And I think Adam Green has been someone who's been covering that for a long time. And he's got a book that's just coming out this week. And I know you've been on his show and you guys have shared a lot of info, but you only give him like 45 minutes, man. This is like something that needs to be covered for hours. And your audience, especially now that you're waking up to what's really happening, which is what Adam's been talking about for a long time. And what I've been talking about at my website, dprogram.net, the letter D, the word program.net. I've been covering this stuff for 20 years. I called into Alex Jones' show way back in the day. And it's just really ridiculous that you guys were supporting Trump this whole time while he's been setting this whole thing up and winning all these awards for Israel. He's like the greatest president for Israel. You have the JFK assassination. You have the attack on the USS Liberty. You've got AIPAC controlling both sides of the government. You've got all this history that you guys just totally decided to reject. And then you've been distracting us with your shows about other things. And every time someone calls to talk about Israel, you guys are just apologizing for them. And you had been apologizing for them for 10 years. And now they're setting up this control system that we're all having to deal with right now. Right now, you're finally turning. It's only been, 6 months since you left InfoWars, right?
Less.
And less, right? Okay. Well, I mean, you should have been turned a long time ago, man. You should have seen all these signs about Trump way back in the day. I mean, you having Roger Stone on your show, Laura Loomer. You've had Webster Tarpley, Wayne Madsen. You lose Michael Rivera, who's talking about this stuff. You lose Gerald Celente, who says he can't come on the show anymore because his stance on Israel. Who else do you guys have?
Well, you're not now. Okay, look, now you're talking about InfoWars. I don't work there anymore. Okay, so now you're just talking about stuff that I have nothing to do with. Look, I don't care about. You can call in and criticize me. That's fine. I just let you talk. But then you say that I don't cover AIPAC and I'm an Israel apologist, and I just start to wonder where you're getting that from. So I don't mind the criticisms. I don't mind you saying, I shouldn't have supported Trump, or I had a big role in putting him there. And so if you want to call me out for that, I have no problem. You can call in and say that. But then you say I am an Israel apologist and I don't cover AIPAC controlling both sides. And then I just wonder, well, what is giving you that idea? I've been covering that for years now. And then you start talking about stuff going on at InfoWars. I don't work there anymore, so I just don't know. So I don't mind the criticism, and you can call in and voice your opinion. I don't hang up on you, so I don't know why you make these claims. But thank you for the call. All right, let's take one more caller before we sign off. And then I think we might have a couple more super chats. I'll check that before we sign off. Last caller to the show. What's your name? Where you're from?
Owl Killer, Virginia.
Owl Killer, go ahead.
Hey, Owen, again, I see the Drudge Report up in the back on your screen. You know, I think you know I'm a friend. You know, I've been calling into your show since you had your last show for at least 8 years, right? So I think you're being a little dishonest, and I'm not as far as like what you're saying Trump can actually do, and a couple of just two in particular. You said the other day that he could cut taxes. He can't cut taxes without Congress. And you're again, we're talking about the deep state prosecutions. You say you can go get Maduro. You know that's an executive. The military is under the executive branch. I have problems with some of the foreign policy decisions, just like you do. But you know that no matter if they indict them or not, again, it is a D.C. jury that they are going to be up against. So at the end of the day, what I wish Trump would have done is just say, I cannot do this myself. We should have run Republicans with him on the same page, abolishing the Federal Reserve, ending the wars, securing the border, things like that. We should have run Republicans with him in a block and not assume that he was going to be able to do everything as the president. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. So, let's be a little bit honest that he cannot do a lot of the things we want to see done
all right.
by
Well,
himself.
now hold on a second. I put the Drudge Report up. What would you like me to put up?
No, I'm just saying, Drudge Report is like the anti whatever Trump is. It's a complete anti side of Trump. You know,
You didn't answer the question. You didn't answer the question. What would you rather have me put up?
Do you look at any other source of news, or do you just read what's on Drudge?
You're still not answering my question. What would you rather me put up?
I'm not telling you what to put up. I'm telling you the only thing I have seen.
You don't have any alternative. I put up Drudge Report because there's headlines on it that you can look at.
Okay.
It has.
Have you
I don't
gone to
endorse
the Gateway Pundit yet?
I go to the Gateway Pundit all the time. If I put the Gateway Pundit on the screen, you can't read the headlines.
Okay, and have you looked into the articles that a few callers have brought up regarding that general from Venezuela that said that they had been hacking into elections? I'm not saying it's true or not.
Yeah,
but
I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that for 5 years. I've heard that since 2020.
You've heard that there was a general in Venezuela that admits that they were running drugs and hacking into elections.
Yes,
you've heard that for 20 years because I just read it a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, that was from 2020. That was part of the Smartmatic conspiracy. Yes, this is 6 years old now.
This guy just got arrested maybe last year. The general I'm referring to.
Okay. Well, look, when anything materializes from that, I'll report on it. But it's just like nothing has materialized. I put Drudge Report up because there's headlines on there that you can read. I said before, I'd love to have my own Owen Report website that does the exact same thing, but that takes money. I don't really have a big budget. I'm in month number 4 of this show. So I hope to do that in the future, rather. And then I can not put Drudge Report and not have you upset. Now, you say Trump doesn't have the power to cut taxes. Okay, fine. You do realize that he's claimed he has cut taxes, though.
And I know he can say whatever he wants. He has passed a bill where taxes have
Trump
been
has
lowered.
claimed.
Yes, he has done that.
So I'm saying, I just reply to the news. I don't know what the issue here is. I cover and respond to the news. So I don't know where it is you're saying I'm dishonest. I don't really understand that. I respond to the news. Trump captured Maduro. He didn't go through Congress. That's what happened. That's what I'm covering. Trump claims he cut taxes. That's what he claimed. Mostly corporate taxes. The American people have not really felt the impact of that. So I just don't really understand. I don't know, the Drudge Report issue, fine. Okay, it's not Matt Drudge anymore. I agree with that. I'm not up here promoting these articles. I'm not up here promoting it. It's just there because it's the Drudge Report. It's an homage to the Rush Limbaugh set, and you can read the headlines. This is exactly what I was talking about to open the show. This is exactly what I was talking about to open the show, guys. So, I appreciate the call. That's a good call. I like the contentious calls. It's good. It's good. All right, final super chat here. Hey, man, all these countries from Venezuela to Greenland are part of the American Technate, a map drawn up by the old technocrat political party back in the day. Elon's grandpa was part of it. Interesting. Was Trump's uncle a part of it too? I guess that would coincide with some of that. So there you go. All right, man. Well, the shows are never boring. The shows are never boring. They're always entertaining. There's always something new. Folks, remember, you can get official merchandise, the only site. If you haven't seen, we just debuted a new USA logo at owenschroyer.store. And actually, I do need to address something here. So we found out my store, the Owen Schroyer store, had actually been affected by the tariffs. And so there were a couple products on the store. They're no longer up on the store. But there were a couple products on the store that were affected by the tariffs and couldn't get shipped out. It was the sweatpants and the shorts. It looks like actually we may need to it looks like the sweatpants may still be up there. Producer DMT, listen, we may need to take that down. I think that needs to be down. So anyway, the store, it might have just been the shorts. I can't remember. The store was impacted by tariffs, so we had to take some of these things down. We're going to bring the USA Elite logo to the shorts and the sweatpants once we get the tariff issue figured out. But I think we're going to have to find a different source for shorts and sweatpants because the source we were using was affected by tariffs. But the USA Elite logo is live at owenschroyer.store. The hats, the sweatshirts, the shirts, the polo, everything, owenschroyer.store. We really like that logo. We think you will too. I'm excited to get my merch, in so I can start wearing it on air. But that's going to do it for today. Stay tuned, though. You know, when I talk about, starting to do different content, to just remind people there's other stuff out there, guys. There's still a real world out there. It's okay to enjoy life. And I guess part of me has this and I guess I shouldn't care, but I do care. I can't help it. I can't turn it off. I do care. I don't like seeing people get misled. I don't like seeing people get deceived. And, folks, I don't do that here. I am one of the most real people in the media you're going to find. It's a very small pond of actual real people that aren't bought and paid for, that aren't going to sell out, that are just truth tellers that call it as they see it. So it's like part of the deception. I view it as part of the deception when you don't view me like that. Now, if you don't like the show or whatever, you don't like my political stances, then fine. But I promise you, folks, I'm as real as it gets. All right? And we're going to start reminding you that there's a real world out there outside of the political world, and it's okay to enjoy it. And maybe we need to start enjoying it more. So these attacks like, black pillars and depressed and all this stuff, it's not true. We love life. We enjoy life. We just tell the truth in politics. And unfortunately, these truths are dark. That does it for today's show. 21-hour break. We'll see you tomorrow, but stay tuned tonight. I think we're going to have a live stream on X tonight, not having to do with politics, with a special guest. Stay tuned.